Chapter 1576. The appearance of the four patriarchs immediately eased the burden on his heart. At least there was no danger. The four patriarchs joined forces to kill the evil spirit race and then capture the traitors. The traitors were not killed directly. Instead, they were captured first and then executed one by one in front of all the disciples. While they were killing the evil spirit race, or the myriad heaven divine realm cultivators, Etionyan also rushed over frantically. Under the lock of the four patriarchs, they could not escape and were trapped inside. In this way, it was like a cornered beast that could be easily killed. Especially under the suppression, their strength was greatly suppressed, and they basically had no power to resist. Etionyan quickly activated all kinds of experience cards and followed up with a slaughter, which stunned the sword judge Heavenly Venerable and the others. Little junior brother is a belligerent. No, the myriad heaven divine realm and the sacred peak divine realm have always been against little junior brother. Little junior brother is venting. Let's go and help. Let's get rid of all these guys. All of them thought that Etionyan wanted revenge, and his real goal was to earn experience. With so many cultivators here, it was better to be killed by him than to be killed by the four patriarchs. This way, he could obtain experience, so he absolutely could not waste it. When the four patriarchs saw Etionyan rush in, they were stunned. Generally speaking, it was enough for them to attack, and their killing speed was faster than Etionyan's, so there was no need for them to join in. But since they had already entered, they could not attack Etionyan, right? They could only slow down their killing speed. These experience points are all mine. All mine. Etionyan swept all the way. He was not willing to let his experience points be stolen. He had originally come to earn experience points. If they were all taken away, then what was the point of coming here? Soon, as he swept through, a lot of experience points fell into his bag, and many Empyrean spirit treasures and the like dropped. These were all valuable things, so he naturally could not miss them. The more of these things, the better. In the future, they could be used to fuse and upgrade treasures, so they definitely couldn't be wasted. He saw his senior brothers helping to clean up the mess. They even shouted, "Little junior brother, I'm here to help you." This caused him to shake his head and smile bitterly. He couldn't wait to kill them all. With so many people joining in, how could he earn anything? Very quickly, the invaders were all cleaned up. The remaining ones were all traitors, and they were all captured. Even the elders were trapped in there. In the face of an ancestor-level existence, they did not have any strength to struggle at all and were easily captured. When a large group of traitors were captured, their faces were ashen. They all knew what the final outcome was, and that was death. Apart from that, there was no other choice. What the heaven cultivation god realm hated the most was betrayal. As long as it was a traitor, they would die without a doubt. Little junior brother, these two forces really provoked you, letting you kill so ruthlessly. Sword ruler Heavenly Venerable patted his chest and said, "But we also killed very ruthlessly. We helped you take revenge." Tears immediately streamed down Etionyan's face. He could only nod to express his gratitude. In reality, he was very bitter in his heart. It was because of their participation that he earned a lot less experience. He couldn't say that he wanted to earn experience and let them kill for him, right? After stopping, they did not have the slightest bit of joy to speak of. All of them had stern faces. Facing so many traitors, even if they won, there was nothing to be happy about. They would only feel a kind of sorrow. Where's ancestor Torrential Cloud? Heaven Cultivation Region Lord glanced and found that heavenly god Torrential Cloud was not there, and felt very strange. Usually, 5 ancestors would appear at the same time, but there were only 4 ancestors now. Heavenly god Torrential Cloud is also a traitor. Heavenly god Yulong, who was in the lead, sighed deeply. Hearing such explosive news, all of them were stunned. Even the ancestors had traitors. What kind of demonic power was there to make them do such a rebellious thing? After finding out, they did not curse out loud. There was only a kind of sorrow in their hearts. Why did you do this? What conditions did the evil spirit race offer to make you do such a rebellious thing? Heavenly god Yulong turned to look at the traitorous elders. The battle of the god emperors is about to begin. We are doing this for the good of the heaven cultivation celestial realm. If the heaven cultivation celestial realm wants to survive, we must submit to them. One of the elders said in a deep voice. However, the winner takes all. You can do whatever you want with us. We have nothing to say. The battle of the god emperors is about to begin. The eyes of the ancestors focused. They were not surprised at all. The battle of the god emperors would begin again sooner or later. As long as no god emperors appeared, it would begin again. In particular, the main culprits of the battle of the god emperors had not died yet. How could they give up? No one would give up, especially the heavenly gods who stood at the peak. The god emperors were their ultimate goal. In order to break through, they would sacrifice everything, because becoming a god emperor was an invincible existence. It was said that they could control all life. Whoever they wanted to kill would die, and whoever they wanted to live would live. This meant that death in battle was not scary. As long as one became a god emperor, no matter how many casualties there were, they could be resurrected in the blink of an eye. No one knew whether it was so magical or not. They only knew that the peak cultivation here was the god emperor. In this celestial realm, there was only one god emperor. There would not be a second god emperor. This god emperor was the god who ruled over everything. Fan Yu, the true god emperors of the outer celestial realm and the inner celestial realm, were omnipotent. Tianyun listened quietly at the side. He did not expect that this fierce battle was about to begin again. From the memories of the pile of statues, he had been there himself and knew how terrifying the battle had been. It seemed that when the time came, people would be plunged into misery and suffering again. Countless forces would be annihilated, and everything would be reduced to ruins. What a joke! I didn't expect that there would still be people who believe the lies from back then. Heavenly God Yupong said bitterly. Back then, the evil spirit race also said the same thing to the other forces. What was the result in the end? They were either cannon fodder or killed by themselves. Everything was just a tool for them to kill people with a borrowed knife. Do you really expect them to give you anything? The ancestors had seen many things. These people did not know the situation at that time, but they still believed these evil spirit race. They were simply kicked in the head. No, this time they will really give us benefits. They will give us a chance to break through to the God Emperor realm. There is definitely not only one God Emperor, but many. Moreover, they can even break through to the 10th refinement of the Earth Monarch realm. As long as we control the heavenly cultivation celestial realm and become their force, they will teach us. These elders knew that they were doomed. They might as well confess everything so that they could know their good intentions. Chapter 1577. When Tianyun heard the cultivation method of the 10 refinements Earth Lord, his expression became extremely strange. Wasn't he himself a 10 refinements Earth Lord? Was there a need to go through so much trouble to betray and obtain this cultivation method? Not to mention him. Even Heavenly Lord Sword C and the others had strange expressions on their faces. They subconsciously looked at Tianyun, feeling that this was an extremely laughable matter. So far, the first 10 refinement Earth Lord that had appeared was undoubtedly Tianyun. As for the evil spirit race, they did not believe that a 10 refinement Earth Lord would appear. This was something that Tianyun was certain of. Up until now, there definitely wasn't a 10th refinement Earth Monarch alive. Perhaps in the future, at least not now. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a special title. It was because he was the #1 earthly monarch that he could have such a title. However, it was hard to say. The evil spirit race had the method to cultivate the 10 refinements of the Earth Lord. But so what? Tianyun knew about it. If he went to negotiate with them, wouldn't he be able to make them betray him? Of course, they had an additional condition, and that was to break through to the God Emperor realm. The 10 refinements Earth Monarch cultivation method was merely something they wanted in passing. The method to break through to the God Emperor realm was the most important. Their words gave them a little shock. Could the explanation that had been spread throughout the entire divine realm be false? In other words, there could only be one God Emperor and not a second one. But the evil spirit race told them that a second one could appear. This was simply a joke. The evil spirit race, which had never even produced a single divine lord, actually dared to boast that they could produce a second divine lord. So what if that's the case? You're willing to betray your sect and deceive your master for such a small thing? The cultivation heaven domain lord said coldly. Besides, do you really think they will give you the real cultivation method? You've all been elders here for so many years. Why are you regressing? The cultivation heaven domain lord was truly enraged. He had chosen to betray them just for such an insignificant matter. How laughable. Domain Lord Xiutian, this is a matter of perspective. We don't regret our betrayal. As a member of this place, before you die, we will give you a little more information. The elder said in a serious tone. 2 divine lords have already appeared in the evil spirit race. It's just that they haven't come out of seclusion yet. Bulsh *T. Empyrean God Yudong couldn't help but curse. God Emperors aren't easy to come by. There is only one God Emperor in the world. If a God Emperor really appeared, with their personalities, they would definitely come out to rule everything. This was obviously unbelievable. God Emperors were already invincible existences, and there were 2 of them. Wasn't this a joke? Let's face it, we've all seen and felt it for ourselves. That terrifying aura is something that only a God Emperor can possess. It's just that the God Emperor didn't come out of seclusion. Instead, he's trapped. As for how he came out, we don't know. All we know is that his aura isn't something we can compare with. Do you really think that we're stupid? We haven't seen anything yet, so we've made up our minds? We're not that stupid. These elders snorted coldly. They looked like they were doing it for their own good, but they were heartlessly abandoned. It was truly chilling. For example, the existence that appeared earlier with the 10 refinements Earth Lord was undoubtedly the work of the evil spirit race. They sent people out to stir up trouble, causing the entire divine realm to explode. You should have heard of this. These elders spoke with faces full of pride, wanting to say how correct their choice was. Even though they had been caught, they still wanted to say that their choice was the right one. At this point, the expressions of Yi Tianyun and the others became even weirder, especially Yi Tianyun, who was even more stunned. When did he become the evil spirit race's subordinate? It seems like the evil spirit race's scourge is not clear to all of you. The great Devis shook his head. Whether the matter regarding the Divine Lord is true or not, it's not easy for us to explain. But in the matter that followed, you were indeed fooled by the evil spirit race, and you were completely fooled. How is this possible? They can all release the aura of the 10 refinements Earth Lord, and it feels very similar. As long as we obtain that cultivation method, a large number of experts will definitely appear in the heavenly cultivation divine realm. The 10 refinements Earth Lord is the ultimate goal, and only then will it be easy to break through to the heavenly God realm or even the divine Lord realm. They did not believe the words of the great Devis, and still firmly believed that what they had seen and heard was correct. That's right, from your tone, it seems like the great Devis knows a little more. If you have the ability, then tell me what the real cultivation method is, or how to prove that it is not a lie from the evil spirit race. These elders looked at the great Devis with sorrowful eyes and said, "Looks like you haven't made any progress, even after training outside for so many years. It is because of this that we are unwilling to hand over the heavenly cultivation divine realm to you. But we hate it." In the end, we still lost. Their faces were filled with unwillingness. No matter what they said, they would not be able to escape death. There was no such thing as a good betrayal or a bad betrayal. Betrayal was betrayal, and the people here had almost been plunged into misery and suffering. Of course I have the cultivation method. The great Devis stood up, looked around, and said, "I'm not afraid to tell you that the cultivation method is to condense 2 planets before the 9 refinements Earth Lord. Only then will you have the chance to break through to the 10 refinements Earth Lord." They suddenly laughed out loud, as expected of an idiot. These are all nonsense spread by the evil spirit race to deceive you idiots and make you go berserk. I thought you would say something, but it turns out to be something that has been spread all over the streets. They spat and felt that the great Devis was even more ridiculous. The great Devis's expression was indifferent. He knew that they did not believe him. Just as he was about to say something, Tianyin stood up and said, "I like to slap people in the face the most, and I like to slap them heavily." The group of people's gazes focused on Tianyin, not knowing what he meant. When so many elders were talking, a junior actually stood up and interrupted them. As soon as he finished speaking, Tianyin directly unleashed the effect of the 10 refinements Earth Lord. Chains appeared behind him, and there were a total of 10 chains, representing the 10 refinements Earth Lord. The terrifying aura of the 10 refinements Earth Lord enveloped them. Other than the great Devis and the others, most of them were stunned when they saw it. The 10 refinements Earth Lord, it really was the 10 refinements Earth Lord. What happened to the evil spirit race's exclusive? What happened to the people sent by the evil spirit race to cause trouble? The original was right in front of them, and he was even the direct disciple of the boundless deity. This is like seeing a ghost. Chapter 1578. Etienne's outburst made them dumbfounded, and they couldn't say a word. This wasn't just a slap in the face. It was simply a slap to the death, ruthlessly shattering their illusions. The real cultivation method is indeed to condense 2 planets before the 9th refinement Earth Lord to successfully break through to the 10th refinement Earth Lord. The difficulty is too high. It's not recommended to try. It doesn't mean that you can break through after condensing 2 planets. It just increases the chances a little. Tianyin pointed at the great Devis and said, "I have already given the detailed experience to Master. Everything will be decided by him." The great Devis definitely wouldn't say it out loud. Originally, he wanted to refute a few words, but Tianyin directly stood up and explained. Otherwise, they wouldn't be willing to believe it no matter what. At the same time, he wanted to increase the prestige of the great Devis, so that after this stop, he could firmly take root in the heaven cultivation god realm. Previously, the great Devis only wanted to try in the vast divine sect. Now that there was such a big change, once he could control most of the power in the heaven cultivation god realm, he could try here. He just wanted to be a boost here, not expose himself to prove that they were idiots. This was only one of the points. The key was to make his master's position more stable. Especially the last words, it meant that the detailed cultivation method was in the hands of the great Devis. As to how to say it out, it was up to the great Devis. The eyes of the group focused on the great Devis, flickering incessantly. They didn't expect that the 10th refinement Earth Lord powerhouse in the outside world was actually the disciple of the great Devis. It was really inconceivable. How can that be? Could it be that what those guys provided us was fake? These elders were all stunned. They had personally experienced it. How could it be fake? As long as one is strong enough, and some have the ability to imitate, it's not surprising to be able to imitate the aura of the 10th refinement Earth Lord. At this time, Yudong stepped out and shook his head, sighing. 10 refinements Earth monarchs. A long time ago, there were indeed 10 refinements Earth monarchs, but they all disappeared. We also have the ability to condense 2 planets, but we don't have the guts to break through to the 10th refinement. The cultivation method is too complicated, it's really hard to say. As ancient heavenly gods, they still knew quite a bit. However, in essence, they did not break through from the 10 refinements Earth monarch. Thus, they really did not have the true cultivation method or the reliable experience. Otherwise, they would have provided it long ago instead of being in seclusion. So there's such a thing. Combined with Etienne's words, it seemed to be quite believable. Of course, the ability of the 10 refinements Earth monarch was right in front of their eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. Could it be that what we saw was an illusion? These elders really wanted to die. The real 10 refinement Earth Lord was right in front of them. Without a doubt, the evil spirit race was just an illusion. That's right. What you've seen should be an illusion, including the power of the God Emperor. It's very likely that they found the power of the God Emperor from a long time ago and released a little bit, making you mistakenly think that it's true. Yudong snorted coldly. In our era, the God Emperor did not even appear, but now you're telling me that there are 2 God Emperors? Isn't this a joke? They haven't come out of seclusion yet. I think they don't exist at all. The strength of the God Emperor is so strong. What else can stop them? Yudong snorted disdainfully. He really did not believe these things. If there really was a God Emperor, wouldn't they turn the sky upside down? After hearing these words, the elders' faces alternated between green and white. Could it be that they were really fooled? Did they see it with their own eyes and feel the aura with their own eyes? Or were they deceived? This was really too terrifying. The evil spirit race's methods were really strong. Could it be that we were really deceived? The traitorous elders were already regretting to the point that their intestines turned green. Yes, you must have been deceived, the great Devis said in a deep voice. But they will definitely start a battle between the God Emperors. With their strength, they can still destroy us. The elders were still stubborn and did not completely compromise. Even if that's the case, do we have to kneel to them just to survive? Shotian region Lord sneered. Back then, during the battle between the God Emperors, there were also many forces that were not willing to kneel to live. Take a closer look. How many forces that were willing to kneel to live still exist now? The words of Region Lord Shotian and the others directly made the elders swallow back their words. Actually, these words were not only said to these traitors, but also to the nearby elders and deacons. They hoped that such a situation would not happen again. Traitors would never have a good ending. Tianyin had a deep understanding of this in this aspect. The evil spirit race's attitude towards these traitors was extremely bad. Especially after the end, it was simply a completely different attitude. They were even more disdainful of these traitors, who were even worse than beasts. Thus, they would rather die standing than live kneeling. In 10 days, execute them in front of all the disciples. Shotian region Lord waved his hand, indicating for them to detain these people and execute them after a period of time. Yes, the guards immediately took them away. These elders' faces were ashen. What would come would come. This was the logic of the winner being the king and the loser being the bandit. It's all thanks to Little Friend's help that we were able to come out to rescue this time. Heavenly deity Yudong smiled at Tianyun and said, I didn't expect you to be a 10 refinement Earth Lord. I really couldn't tell that such a genius is actually a human cultivator. It's really unbelievable. That's right. It seems like we should change the rules. Human cultivators will also be recruited. Not only them, but even the other elders had also changed their views towards the human race. Especially those elders who insisted on recruiting genius disciples. Now their views had also changed. It wasn't that recruiting geniuses was bad, but they were recruiting people with loyalty, not a bunch of ingrates. Now, many geniuses had betrayed them. Just thinking about it made their hearts ache. At the same time, they felt that they were all old and haggard. After such a thing happened, they were much less persistent in some of their pursuits. Great Elder, this time, we are all convinced. All the elders bowed deeply to the great Devis. Even if they were at the same level, they had to bow to express their apologies. After this experience, they had learned a lot. The more they climbed up from the bottom, or the more talented they were, the more talented they were. The more talented they were, even if they received resources as a reward, they would feel that it was only right. Or would they feel the slightest bit of gratitude? Chapter 1579. Tianyin had indirectly saved the entire Heaven Cultivation Sacred Realm and received a lot of gratitude. He was even directly invited to become an elder. However, he rejected all of these. He still didn't want to become an elder here. The great Devis was enough to manage it. There was no need for him to join. Moreover, he definitely wouldn't do anything if he joined. He wasn't in charge of the 3 realms' sacred realm. Therefore, any position given to him was useless. Since he didn't want to be an elder, he could only be rewarded. Empyrean deity Yudong asked him to propose a reward. Tianyin mentioned very bluntly that he needed all kinds of materials to refine a middle-grade, heavenly venerate spiritual treasure. He could already refine a middle-grade, heavenly venerate spiritual treasure now. One more treasure meant one more portion of strength. Empyrean deity Yudong naturally wouldn't be stingy. He directly gifted Tianyin a large number of materials. Many of them were very good materials, enough for Tianyin to refine a middle-grade, heavenly venerate spiritual treasure. The rest of the matters basically had nothing to do with him. The Heaven Cultivation Sacred Realm wasn't his faction, and he wasn't an elder. Naturally, he could leave. However, he didn't choose to leave. Instead, he continued to stay here. He planned to refine a middle-grade heavenly venerate spiritual treasure first, then directly kill his way to the Myriad Sky Sacred Realm, or the Sacred Peak Sacred Realm. He would ruthlessly plunder their headquarters. Even if he didn't go, the Heaven Cultivation Sacred Realms patriarchs had already made up their minds. After this matter was over, they would directly send a large group of people over to flatten the two sacred realms. Since the two sacred realms were attacking, how could they not take revenge? Therefore, they decided to immediately organize a group of people to head over after things had stabilized. Tianyun definitely wouldn't miss this opportunity. He would either head over alone or go with them. It was undoubtedly safer to go with them. After all, the two sacred realms had their own foundation. It would be easy for problems to arise if he went alone. Let's refine this treasure first. Otherwise, it'll really be troublesome after this battle, especially when facing powerful sky gods. He basically had no power to resist. As a result, his explosive attacks couldn't reach the level that they should have. If he wanted to replace the set, he would have to increase his cultivation base first. Without reaching the heavenly god stage, he would not be able to replace the set. One had to admit that the requirements were really high. One had to be a heavenly god to be able to purchase a higher grade set. Now, he could only refine an Empyrean spirit treasure to defend himself. Otherwise, he would be insta-killed again. It looks like a middle-level Empyrean spirit treasure should be a defensive type. It has offensive capabilities, but its defensive capabilities are a bit weak. Tianyun felt that he still had a long way to go. Just relying on his physique to resist the attack was too difficult. Thus, the second Empyrean spirit treasure was decided to be a defensive treasure. Immediately after, he began to throw the materials into his body and began to condense them. Some of the materials were not enough. They were simply too rare, and so there weren't many of them. Not even Empyrean God Yidang had so many of them. Therefore, he could only throw it into the shop and sell it. Then, through the effect of duplication, he could make several copies of the materials. It was just that the price was shocking. However, no matter how shocking it was, he could only brace himself and buy it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to refine good defensive equipment. It's about time. All that's left is a bit of time. Condensing a middle-level Empyrean spirit treasure was the same as condensing a lower-level Empyrean spirit treasure. He just needed to throw in all the materials and the condensation would be successful. This was simply a blessing for those with bad hands. There was no need to invite a grandmaster. He could just refine it himself. After a period of condensation, the middle-level Empyrean spirit treasure quickly took shape. Then, two treasures were condensed. Gradually, as time passed, the patterns on the surface became clearer. Finally, what appeared in front of Tianyun were two wrist guards. The second Empyrean spirit treasure was a pair of wrist guards. They were things that were securely wrapped around the wrist. Because he was condensing two items, he consumed quite a bit of materials. Success! After the condensation was successful, Tianyun took it out and wore it on his wrist. There were still 5 faint dragons writhing on it. It was similar to his 5-dragon divine spear, possessing an extremely domineering power. This wrist guard didn't look too eye-catching. Who would have thought that it was a middle-level Empyrean spirit treasure? Now, I have a defensive treasure. I can test its power next time. Tianyun's eyes flashed. This thing wasn't as ordinary as it looked on the surface. The effects it possessed were extremely different. Then I'll call it the 5-dragon wrist guards. He wanted to create a kind of set, the kind whose effects could be superimposed. It's about time. I wonder what's going on in the Heaven Cultivation God Realm. Tianyun waved his hand. After feeling that it was about time, he went out of seclusion. The guards outside greeted him respectfully. Tianyun was the great benefactor of the Heaven Cultivation God Realm. Seeing him was like seeing the Great Elder. They were very respectful. After coming out, he quickly learned that the Heaven Cultivation God Realm had announced the general situation and executed the traitors in front of all the disciples. This was no different from what was said before. As for when to attack the Sacred Peak Divine Realm and the Myriad Heaven Divine Realm, it was basically decided to be next month. This operation was really swift and decisive. They immediately started preparing. The impact of this matter was too great. The heaven cultivation, God realm, had to do something to save their face. Destroying the two divine realms was the best way. And it was also a warning to the evil spirit race. Next month, we will attack the myriad heaven divine realm and the sacred peak divine realm. We plan to attack the sacred peak divine realm first. Among them, the sacred peak divine realm has the best relationship with the evil spirit race. So we will destroy the sacred peak divine realm first. The heaven cultivation domain Lord said in the Great Hall. During the process, it is very likely that the evil spirit race will come to help. So the ones who go this time must be powerful, all of them above the sky's sovereign realm. Now start arranging the teams. You must listen to the captain's orders and not disobey. After making some simple arrangements, they began to gather the sky sovereigns so that they could be arranged into small teams. The sacred peak divine realm was so vast, so a group of people would definitely be very slow. What they needed was an all-out assault. Domain Lord Xiutian, I wonder if I can participate in this battle? At this time, Etienne's figure appeared in front of everyone. He would not miss this kind of battle. After all, he had always had a bit of enmity with the sacred peak divine realm. No problem. Then you can join a small team. As for who to let follow you, Domain Lord Xiutian, I'm willing to join his team. I'm willing too. I'm more willing. Empyrean Heavenly Cloud, my ability is not weak. I will definitely not drag you down. One by one, they pounced forward as if they were snatching people, wanting to snatch Etienne away. Chapter 1580. Etienne's popularity was very high. A group of people kept surging over, fighting to join Etienne's team. Originally, Etienne and the others were quite ostracized here. After all, they had come over to slap their faces and affect their rules. It was different now. Etienne had super strength, super standard, and had even saved the cultivation heaven divine realm. His popularity was basically equivalent to the Grand Elder's level. Therefore, how could they not want to join? They wanted to feel what it was like to have a 10 Refinement Earth Lord Foundation, Heavenly Venerables up close. Etienne took a casual glance and said with a smile, "Everyone is very outstanding and powerful, but my team can only have 5 people. I can't accept too many people for the time being. However, these 5 people have already been decided. That's right." At this time, Heavenly Venerable Sword C and the others came out and smiled as they came to Etienne's side. Heavenly Venerable Sword C, Heavenly Venerable Dragon Cry, Heavenly Venerable Yu Qian, Heavenly Venerable Li, and finally Etienne. The entire team was full, and there were no more empty spots. From the beginning, they had planned to be a team, so there were no more empty spots to speak of. All right, they immediately revealed disappointed expressions. They had originally wanted to fight alongside Etienne, but now it seemed like they could only watch from afar. Although it was a pity, they could at least watch from afar. Soon, all the teams were allocated. The Great Deva stood out and said coldly, "All the teams are here now. We will set off for the Sacred Peak Divine Realm later. We will not attack the Sacred Peak Divine Realm indiscriminately. As long as they are above the Divine Lord level, we will kill them all. Some things should be baptized with blood. They would not bully those with low cultivation. Especially those old, young, sick, and disabled, they would not attack them indiscriminately. They were not like the evil spirit race, nor were they like other vicious forces. They would still let those who should be let go. After all, the real culprit was not them. Some of them did not even know and directly let them go. Baptized with blood. Baptized with blood. Thinking back to how sullen they had felt earlier, how all of their disciples had been threatened. As long as the order was given, they would all be annihilated. One could well imagine how they felt. As an accomplice, the Sacred Peak Celestial Realm was naturally going to be annihilated. With their morale boosted, the Great Devis led them directly to the Sacred Peak God territory. Accompanying them were the 2 patriarchs. The rest of the old ancestors were all here. If all the experts left, there would be no one guarding this place. This was a rather dangerous matter. If an enemy attacked, it would be troublesome. Soon, they charged toward the sacred peak's god realm. When they arrived at the sacred peak god realm and were about to start a massacre, they were all stunned. Picking a random planet, one would see a tragic scene. All the cultivators, regardless of their cultivation level or age, had been annihilated. Some of them died miserably, some were split into pieces, and some were riddled with countless holes. When they saw this, they were all shocked by this scene. Etianyan quickly flew down to check. After a while, he said with a serious expression, "It's the evil spirit race." Evil spirit race? They quickly reacted. Among them, Heavenly Venerable Jin C said in a deep voice, "Could it be that the failure of the Sacred Peak God realm angered the evil spirit race and caused a complete purge?" "That's very possible. Maybe they're still here to purge." Etienne's gaze was ice cold. He turned to look at the great Devis and said, "Master, what should we do now?" "Destroy them." The great Devis said coldly, "Everyone, listen up. Speed up and spread out in all directions. Kill the evil spirit race if you see them. If anything happens, immediately request reinforcements. Be careful." They did not expect the evil spirit race to be so ruthless. Their attack failed, and they were wiped out by the evil spirit race instead. They did not even need to do anything, and the sacred peak god realm would disappear from this god realm forever. However, they did not want the evil spirit race to help them with this. They had to get rid of them first. "Yes, Grand Elder." Following that, they spread out in all directions. Etienne's team also rushed forward to see if they could find the evil spirit race. These evil spirit race are really ruthless. Are they not showing mercy to the losers? Etienne's gaze was ice cold. The evil spirit race had always been high and mighty, and they were all extremely proud existences. Therefore, during the Great War back then, the divine spirit race had crazily eradicated them. They never thought that they would be so tenacious and not be exterminated. On the contrary, the divine spirit race was in a miserable state and had now fallen into a state of decline. Perhaps there were still some divine spirit race hiding in a corner, but no matter what, the decline of the divine spirit race was inevitable. Along the way, Etienne saw that the planets had been completely drained. Many cultivators had been killed and devoured by the evil spirit race. This feeling was truly disgusting. The existence of the evil spirit race was hundreds of times more disgusting than some of the demon race. After flying past quite a few planets, they finally saw living people in front of them. However, under the slaughter of the evil spirit race, the number of living people quickly decreased. There were not many evil spirit races in this group, only a few dozen of them. Their cultivation levels varied. The highest was only at the Divine Lord level, and the lowest was even at the Star Lord level. It was as if they were here to devour for cultivation, but now it didn't look like they were devouring for cultivation at all. They were more like playing around. "Huh? You want to escape? Obediently come over here. Run, keep running. I like to see your expressions of despair when you run away. Weren't you quite arrogant just now? Now, I'll kill all your loved ones one by one. Let's see how you can still be so arrogant." These evil spirit races were simply perverts. They were simply abusing them. When Etienne and the others saw this, they were enraged and flew over without any hesitation. "Kill!" Etienne turned into a ray of light and descended. Those evil spirit races did not even have the time to react and were directly blasted into smithereens. "All of you must die." Etienne swept out once again, turning all the evil spirit races into smithereens. Perhaps he did not have a good impression of the sacred peak divine realm, but to trample on life like this was absolutely disgusting. Even if he died, he had to die with some respect. But they were just playing around with him. If he lost, he would accept it even if he was killed. However, casually playing with them was even more so trampling on their dignity. This was something that no cultivator would allow. This was the same logic as when the heavenly cultivation divine realm charged in. They would only kill those at the divine lord level and above. They disdained killing cultivators with low cultivation levels. Everyone had their own standards. Chapter 1581. Amongst so many races, The evil spirit race was shouted at by everyone and was not allowed to exist. When the other divine realms fought, they would not kill all of them. They would only kill some of the upper echelons. As for those at the bottom, most of them were innocent. Most of them were just seeking stability, so there wouldn't be any problems. However, the evil spirit race was different. Those who failed were all executed. Those who were not of their race were also exterminated. Or those who were not allies, they were completely wiped out, leaving not a single one alive. It was precisely because of this that all the powers hated the evil spirit race so much. However, the evil spirit race was like those weeds. They grew again in the spring breeze and quickly recovered. It was impossible to burn them all. Very quickly, they completely exterminated these evil spirit races and quickly flew to other planets to exterminate the other evil spirit races. Thank you, benefactor. Thank you, benefactor. They all knelt down and kowtowed to Tianyun and the others. They did not know Tianyun, nor did they know why they were here. All they needed to know was that they had been saved, and that was enough. As they continued to advance, they saw more and more evil spirit races scattered across the surrounding planets, continuously carrying out indiscriminate slaughter. As long as it was alive, they would not let it go. Perhaps in their eyes, other than themselves, everyone else was food. But even food had its own dignity. Thus, they all started to resist. Those who could not resist could only choose to flee in all directions and hide. However, all of this was meaningless. They would all be easily found and could not be avoided. Tianyun swept through them once again and cleaned them up. The group of cultivators all knelt down and kowtowed to them in thanks. Originally, they should have been hated by the sacred peak divine realm, but now they had become their saviors. It wasn't just them, the other teams were the same. They all rushed over to exterminate groups of evil spirit races, but because their cultivations weren't high, they were all easily exterminated. Originally, even if all the experts of the sacred peak divine realm attacked, in addition to the side that was originally dealing with Tianyun, quite a few of them had already been annihilated. Right now, there were only a small number of experts left in the sacred peak divine realm, so they were isolated and helpless. Under the annihilation of the evil spirit race, they didn't even have the chance to resist. This verified domain Lord Xiutian's words. When there was value, the forces that relied on the evil spirit race could still survive and get a mouthful of soup. If they couldn't complete the mission, or if they were of no value, the result would be complete annihilation. They had seen this kind of situation many times, but there were still people who believed that this kind of misfortune would not befall them. But when the real disaster came, it was already too late for regrets. As they approached the center of the sacred peak, celestial territory, they discovered that the main hall had been destroyed. There were corpses everywhere. As for where the sacred peak region lord had gone, they had no idea. At the very least, they knew that the sacred peak, celestial realm was finished. The sacred peak region lord had escaped, and the patriarch of the sacred peak celestial realm was nowhere to be found. The rest were all disciples with ordinary cultivation, and they were slowly cleaned up by the evil spirit race. Fortunately, Tianyun and the others arrived just in time and suppressed the situation. There aren't any powerful evil spirit races. They're all a bunch of small fry. The great Devis and the others gathered back together. They thought that they would be able to catch a stronger evil spirit race, but who knew that they were all small fries? It's the same for us. It's all a bunch of small fries. It's the same for us. The teams gathered back one by one, and the reports they gave were all the same. There were no powerful existences. Whether it was the evil spirit race, the region lord of the sacred peak celestial realm, or the sky sovereign, none of them were here. Where are the sacred peak region lord and the others? Why aren't they here? Sky sovereign Jin Si and the others felt that this was the most strange. They definitely wouldn't send all of them out. The Sacred Peak Region Lord and the others would definitely stay here to guard. Now, they were all gone. Not a single one of them could be seen. If they were here, the evil spirit race would definitely not be so impudent. I guess they must have truly joined the evil spirit race's side. Tianyun slowly raised his head and said, if they really joined the evil spirit race's side, could it be that they went to the evil spirit race's area? The eyes of Sky, Sovereign GNC, and the others were filled with shock. They abandoned their own forces and so many subordinates just like that. I think that should be the case. Tianyun shook his head. To some of the higher-ups, these were like ants. So what if they casually threw them away? They no longer had any value. After abandoning them, they were casually harvested by the evil spirit race, just like livestock that could be slaughtered at will. What was sad was that they had followed some heartless domain lords. They thought that they would have a good life, but now, it seemed that there was only a tragic ending. That's about it. This place has already been completely abandoned by them. They must have known that we would come back to attack, so they simply gave up and allowed the evil spirit race to do as they pleased. The great Devis shook his head. Based on this situation, I reckon that the myriad heaven divine realm is not much better off. If we go over now, we might be able to save some cultivators. All right, let's go now. In their opinion, the myriad heaven divine realm might also be suffering from this kind of devouring. However, just as they were about to leave, Tianyun suddenly extended his hand to stop them, signaling them to stop. Wait! Tianyun's eyes narrowed, and he said in a deep voice, "Do you think it's possible for them to go back and launch a sneak attack on the cultivation heaven divine realm? But even our ancestor has come out. How dare they act so recklessly?" The great Devis and the others narrowed their eyes. But if that was really the case, it would be really troublesome. The ancestors have come out, but only 2 of them. What if they all move out, including the 2 great ancestors of the sacred peak divine realm and the myriad heaven divine realm? In addition to the experts of the evil spirit race, or the ancestors of the cultivation heaven divine realm. Tianyun said a long string of things, causing them to be dumbfounded. Previously, he had thought that the other party had already been defeated and would definitely not attack again. Now that he thought about it carefully, it was really possible that it would turn into a general attack. Taking advantage of the fact that a large number of experts had come out, they would circle around and attack fiercely, completely taking over the cultivation heaven divine realm. Just as they were worrying, the great Devis's expression changed. He took out a few jade pendants from his bosom, all of them broken, and not a single one of them was intact. They're really here. The faces of the great Devis and the others darkened. Whatever they were worried about, it would happen immediately. These fellows had already predicted that the cultivation heaven divine realm would come to take revenge. So they gave up on this place and turned towards the general attack, wanting to completely devour the cultivation heaven divine realm. Chapter 1582. The great Devis and the others immediately turned around and prepared to rush back to the heaven cultivation god realm at their fastest speed. However, even if they rushed back at their fastest speed, it would still take a long time. By the time they got back, they did not know what the situation was like over there. Thus, they immediately boarded the spirit boat and flew towards the heaven cultivation god realm at their fastest speed. "Master, please wait a moment." Tianyun indicated for them not to be in such a hurry. "What is it?" The great Devis stopped and asked doubtfully. "Everyone, please come in here. I will bring you back. I have a shuttle-type treasure that can only be used a few times. It can return to the heaven cultivation god realm at an extremely fast speed." Tianyun said in a deep voice. He could only say that it was a shuttle-type treasure. He couldn't possibly say that he could easily return after setting up the coordinates, right? Wouldn't that be scaring them to death? There's such a treasure, and it can only be used a few times? The great Devis frowned and said, "Then I'll have to trouble you. After this matter is over, I will compensate you properly." There was no time to lose. Even if it was a waste, they could only accept it. They weren't being lured away from the mountain, but they had set a trap for themselves. The other party had completely calculated it, and had gone along with it to launch a sneak attack. At the same time, he had arranged for some evil spirit race to cause damage and attract their attention. Now, he had saved the sacred peak god realm, but his own home was going to be destroyed. There's no need to talk about this now. Tianyun summoned the myriad divine pagoda and gestured for them to come in. Without hesitation, they all entered. They trusted Tianyun very much, so they naturally did not have any suspicions. After entering, Tianyun immediately set the coordinates. and with a flash, he disappeared. In the periphery of the heaven cultivation god realm, a group of powerful Empyrean gods were continuously attacking the sealed passageway. The ones who were working the hardest were the domain lord of the sacred peak and the domain lord of the myriad heaven. Other than wanting to contribute, they also wanted to vent their anger. Their own power was gone. How could they not be angry? It's all your fault. If it wasn't for you, how could my power be gone? Damn it, it's all gone. My forces are also gone. All of them have been offered up. If I don't flatten all of you this time, I won't be the domain master of the myriad heaven divine realm. They were extremely crazy, attacking this side fiercely. Apart from them, the other heavenly deities were also like this. Who would be happy when their own forces were gone? In addition to all the Empyrean gods from the two great powers, there were also Empyrean gods from the evil spirit race. In total, there were more than 20 Empyrean gods. They were all extremely powerful and not ordinary Empyrean gods. Under the violent bombardment, the originally closed passageway was about to be blasted open. Closing the passageway was only equivalent to closing the door. If it continued to be bombarded, it would definitely be blasted open. When they come back, they will only see a pile of corpses. That will be the best feeling. The Sacred Peak Domain Master's eyes were red, and his attacks became more and more intense. From their point of view, it was Shotion's god realm that caused them to end up in such a state. Not only were their forces gone, but their main mission was to take down the heaven cultivation celestial realm and flatten it. If they couldn't complete this mission, then it would be their turn to be finished. If their own forces were destroyed, they could rebuild them. But if they were destroyed, then what was the point? The key was that they were blaming the heaven cultivation celestial realm for everything instead of finding fault with themselves. The heaven cultivation celestial realm and the others inside the heaven cultivation celestial realm all wore grave expressions. In order to exterminate them, they had sent out about half of their powerful cultivators, leaving the other half. Most importantly, they had already lost a lot of people. Even if only half of them remained, it would still be very difficult to resist. Even if the patriarchs came out, they had to be cautious. After all, the other side also had a patriarch, and there was also an old acquaintance outside, Empyrean god Torrential Clouds. Empyrean god Torrential Clouds organized the other Empyrean gods to launch a ferocious assault on the passageway. Empyrean god Torrential Clouds was the patriarch of this place, so he was very familiar with the defenses here. Thus, they were attacking the weak points of this place. Judging from the current situation, it wouldn't be long before their defenses completely crumbled. Empyrean god Torrential Clouds, I didn't think you would become their accomplice. Have you completely forgotten about our old friendship? Empyrean god Yulong roared. Old friendship? Open your eyes and see who I am. Empyrean god Torrential Clouds chuckled coldly as four wings suddenly sprouted from his back. He was a member of the evil spirit tribe. All of them were completely dumbstruck. Who would have thought that the comrade they had spent so much time with would be a member of the evil spirit tribe? This was how the evil spirit tribe was. No matter how much they nurtured them, they would never grow close to them, regardless of whether they had saved their comrade or not. None of it mattered. This was the best proof of that. They had nurtured them for so many years for nothing, only to be stabbed in the back. Who would have thought that you would be a member of the evil spirit tribe? Empyrean god Yulong and the others wore dark expressions. They really couldn't tell that Empyrean god Torrential Clouds was a member of the evil spirit tribe. They had no idea how he was able to conceal his aura so perfectly that they were unable to detect him. That's right, I am a member of the evil spirit tribe. Empyrean god Torrential Clouds chuckled coldly. If you really want to remember our past friendship, then surrender and sign a slave contract. I'll spare you and even nurture you well. Of course, you have to hand over that treasure of yours as well. Empyrean god Yulong has been holding on to it for so long. It's time for you to hand it over. That treasure. Empyrean god Yulong's expression darkened as a smile of rage appeared on his face. So you've been eyeing that treasure from the very beginning. Let me tell you, It's something that will never happen. I knew it would never happen. Aside from you, no one has been willing to hand it over to you this entire time. Seeing as that's the case, I can only take it from you. Don't say that I don't care about our past friendship then. Empyrean god, torrential cloud splayed his hands open with a smile. Look at all the powerful beings on my side. Do you really think you can still resist after all these setbacks? I have to say, you really are stupid. Do you really think that we won't dare to launch a sneak attack? You even sent out so many powerful beings. By the time they come back, all they'll see will be a pile of corpses. Empyrean god, torrential clouds' eyes were filled with disdain. However, it's exactly because of your stupidity that we've been forced to plan ahead. Could it be that our heaven cultivation god realm is truly doomed this time? They had just endured a life-or-death tribulation, and now they were facing another one. It could only be said that their boldness had far exceeded the imagination of the heaven cultivation god realm leaders. Chapter 1583. Etienne's sudden appearance immediately attracted the attention of many cultivators, and all of them turned to look in his direction. However, when they noticed that he was an intermediate-level heavenly venerate, they ignored him, thinking that he was just a passerby. Realm Lord Xiaotian and the others were stunned upon seeing Etienne's return. Why had Etienne suddenly returned? Where did this brat come from? He must be tired of living. An upper-level celestial master on the side pressed his finger and quickly flew over, wanting to kill Etienne. In this area, Etienne was the only outsider. Everyone else was on their side, so they naturally had to come and take care of him. Heavenly God Sky Cloud also noticed Etienne, and his pupils contracted as he roared. This is the brat who ruined our plan. Hand him over to me. Heavenly God Sky Cloud immediately recognized Etienne as the brat who had ruined their plan, and he immediately turned to attack Etienne in an attempt to kill him. If it weren't for Etienne, how would their plan have turned out like this? This was all Etienne's fault. As such, he was going to kill Etienne even if he had to swallow his pride. In particular, Etienne was not as simple as they had imagined. He was a very troublesome brat. All of the heavenly venerates were dumbstruck. An intermediate-level heavenly venerate was asking an ancient heavenly god to intervene? Just what had this brat done to incur heavenly god Sky Cloud's wrath? Realm Lord Xiaotian and the others' expressions shifted. They were unable to provide reinforcements, and heavenly god Yidang's heart tightened. Etienne had helped them, so he was still the benefactor of the heavenly cultivation god realm. If he were to die like this, how would the heavenly cultivation god realm maintain their dignity? A faint smile appeared on Etienne's face as he looked at the oncoming heavenly god Sky Cloud. He waved a hand, and the myriad god pagoda flew out. As it grew bigger, a bunch of cultivators rushed out, including the other two patriarchs. As soon as they came out, they immediately formed a circle in front of Etienne and prepared for battle. How can this be? The appearance of the great Devis gave heavenly god torrential cloud a fright, and he immediately stopped in his tracks. After all, there were two great ancestors here, and their strength was comparable to his. If they really fought, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. The other Empyrean deities were all shocked. The Sacred Peak Region Master and the others all stopped their attacks and looked over in a daze. Didn't they say that it would take a long time for them to return here? It might not take too long, but it would take at least a few days or even a week. After all, the distance between the two of them was quite far. Who would have thought that they would already be back when they had just started? Furthermore, they were brought back by a mysterious kid. This treasure is really amazing. I really came back in an instant. How could the vast heavenly deity and the others not be shocked? Such a shocking speed caused them to be stupefied. Even if they activated their spirit ships at full power, they wouldn't be able to do this. It would take at least a few days, and by the time they got back, the battle would most likely have already begun or ended. Now that they had come back in an instant, they didn't even have time to warm up before returning to the Heaven Cultivation God Realm. This type of shuttle-type treasure was definitely an extremely rare type. It was definitely a life-saving treasure. After coming out, they didn't pounce forward. After all, They had brought a lot of cultivators with them, and they were more powerful than all of them. If they hadn't made it back in time, they would have been far more powerful than the cultivators in the heaven cultivation god realm. The current situation was that they had surrounded Empyrean god Tower Cloud and the others in a circle. What's going on? They can come back so quickly? Aren't they already wreaking havoc on the Sacred Peak region? Heavenly God, Torrential Cloud, and the others wore dark expressions. They had thought that they would be able to take down the Sacred Peak region easily, but it didn't look like it would be that easy. Even though they had many patriarchs on their side, the Sacred Peak Patriarch, the Myriad Heaven Patriarch, and Patriarch Torrential Cloud made up 3 patriarchs. As for the Evil Spirit Tribe, they didn't have any patriarchs. Only a few heavenly gods had come to reinforce them. The Evil Spirit Tribe's patriarchs definitely couldn't be mobilized unless it was absolutely necessary. However, even though Heavenly God Torrential Cloud was an Evil Spirit Tribe patriarch, it was already very impressive that one of them had been mobilized. If many patriarchs were to appear, it would be very troublesome. This would attract the attention of some of the ancient stards, and they would all wake up. The Evil Spirit Tribe was wreaking havoc in the surrounding divine realms, but those ancient stards hadn't come out because the situation wasn't serious enough. Unless the situation was extremely serious, they wouldn't come out. It's all his fault. Heavenly God Torrential Cloud focused his gaze on Eteonyun again. Eteonyun had appeared out of thin air before bringing a large group of people with him. It was undoubtedly his appearance that had disrupted their plans. Could it be that you're a disciple of the Fecta realm? Heavenly God Torrential Cloud stared intently at Eteonyun, trying to glean something from his eyes. A disciple of the Fecta realm? Eteonyun shrugged. I don't even know what you're talking about. The Fecta realm was an extremely mysterious divine realm that was almost impossible to find. It was almost as if it didn't exist in this world. However, it did exist in this world, and it possessed extremely intricate treasures that could unleash astonishing power. In reality, it was the equivalent of a super powerful divine craftsman who could create many intricate treasures. For example, there really were treasures that could allow one to instantly pass through several divine realms. However, no one had ever been to the Fecta realm, and no one knew where it was. There were still treasures from the Fecta realm on the market, and all of them were extremely dazzling, causing people to fight over them. Now that Eteonyun had displayed such bizarre methods, they couldn't help but wonder if Eteonyun was actually from the Fecta realm. However, it was true that Eteonyun wasn't from the Fecta realm. He knew about the Fecta realm, but he wasn't a disciple of the Fecta realm. How could little junior brother be a disciple of the Fecta realm? Heavenly Sovereign Sword Ruler and the others all laughed. They had accompanied him all the way here from the outer divine realms. The disciples of the Fecta realm were extremely precious. How could they have come from the outer divine realms? The disciples of the Fecta realm were all super geniuses. There was no need for them to play around like this. Moreover, the disciples of the Fecta realm were extremely strict. They couldn't leave the Fecta realm as they pleased. Unless they were given special permission, they were not allowed to leave. If they left without permission, they would be severely punished. He's not a disciple of the Fecta realm? Heavenly God Torrential Cloud's eyes were cold. Then you have a treasure from the Fecta realm. What a miscalculation. You're the one who ruined both of our plans. Damn you. Chapter 1584. Eteonyun had foiled his plans twice in a row. How could he not be enraged? Even though there was a massive disparity in their cultivation bases, Heavenly God Sky Cloud was going to kill him even if he had to throw away his pride. Do you think I'd help you if I didn't foil your plans? Idiot! Eteonyun said sarcastically. He didn't put Heavenly God Tao Yun in his eyes at all. Heavenly God Sky Cloud flared up with rage, and he pointed a finger toward them. Kill those bastards over there first. I'll take care of this evil brat. Heavenly God Sky Cloud had really swallowed his pride. He was telling everyone that he was going to kill Eteonyun first in front of so many cultivators. This was simply inconceivable. A high and mighty ancient heavenly god was swallowing his pride to attack an intermediate heavenly venerate? It was shameful to say that he had lowered himself like this. Heavenly God Sky Cloud didn't feel humiliated. Instead, he was enraged, and he wanted to kill Etianyan. How could he not be enraged after spoiling two of his plans? All of his plans had been so perfect, but they had all been ruined. He could have taken down the cultivation god realm without expending a single soldier. Not only had he suffered countless casualties, but even the two puppet god realms had been completely destroyed. This was a chain reaction that made him want to vomit blood. Thank God he hadn't alerted those old Beastrous starts. Otherwise, the problem would have been even more severe. Heavenly God Sky Cloud, if you want to touch him, you'll have to ask the two of us first. The two patriarchs positioned themselves in front of Heavenly God Sky Cloud. If they were going to settle scores, then they were going to settle scores with one another. Piss off. Heavenly God Sky Cloud quickly summoned his Heavenly Venerate Spirit Treasures, including the Heavenly God Spirit Treasures. 5 Spirit Treasures appeared around him. At the same time, 5 arms appeared on his back, each of which was wielding a weapon. He was truly going to fight for his life. Evil Spirit Tribe cultivators had multiple arms, which meant that they could unleash even more power. Boom! The battle was about to commence, and Heavenly God Sky Cloud's charge officially commenced. Following the other heavenly deities, they all attacked together. When facing enemies, their eyes were definitely bloodshot. The Holy Peak Realm leader and the others also charged forward. Seeing as they couldn't open the passageway right away, they had to kill the Great Devis and the others first. Open the passage. Emperor God Yudong and the others immediately gave the order to open up the passageway. Previously, the disparity in power had been too great. They wanted to first observe the situation before making any further plans. Now that everyone was back, it was time to have a good fight. Heavenly God Yudong took the initiative to open up a passageway, and all of them quickly charged out with Heavenly God Yudong at the lead. This time, the battle really began. Everyone brandished their weapons and attacked fiercely. The battle quickly became white-hot. Open! At that moment, a huge divine tree descended from the void. A vast life force descended in all directions, enveloping all the cultivators. At this time, they were surprised to find that their healing abilities had greatly improved. Without a doubt, this was the Etianyan Voodoo with divine set. The effects would decrease as one's cultivation increased, but it was still quite effective for heavenly deities, so it was better than having no effect at all. Of course, as Etianyan's cultivation increased, the effects would also increase. Therefore, it could be maintained at a very good level. This way, it would have a strong healing effect on all cultivators. Not only did Etianyan activate super strong healing, but he also constantly rushed toward other Empyrean powerhouses. He might not be able to kill heavenly deities, but killing those Empyreans was not a problem. This healing ability is really amazing. What kind of move is this? Empyrean Sky Cloud is too amazing. He has this kind of ability? The injuries he just suffered recovered immediately. It's several times faster than before. It's really amazing. We don't have to worry about getting injured when we fight with him. Even if we get injured, we'll be fine after a little rest. When they sensed this power, they were all astonished. Even the elders were extremely shocked. Empyrean Swordsea and the others had already felt it. When they saw their expressions, they thought of their own expressions. They were indeed deeply shocked. Ding successfully killed an upper-level Empyrean. Obtained experience. Ding successfully killed a middle-level Empyrean. Obtained experience. Ding successfully killed under the blessing. They became braver and braver as they fought. They were not afraid of getting injured, so they could naturally crush them with irresistible force. At the same time, with the help, Etianyan could also obtain a shocking amount of experience. He didn't even need to do anything to earn a large amount of experience. He had wanted to do this before, but the range was limited. If he hunted them from all directions, his healing range would not be able to reach them. Therefore, he decided not to activate it and could only slowly do it himself. Now it was different. They were all gathered together and fighting, so everything was within his range of control. Under such circumstances, his experience was rapidly increasing, and it was no longer a dream to level up quickly. Kill. Etienne's speed skyrocketed. The astonishing speed of the Kuan Peng bloodline was unleashed here. Killing Empyreans was as easy as drinking water. Suddenly, he was like a harvester, harvesting everything in his path. This situation scared Empyrean god Torrential Clouds and the others. He had this kind of ability? This brat is really strange. Kill him first. The Sacred Peak Region Master and the others all agreed with Empyrean god Torrential Cloud's words. This was really too strange. Not only did he ruin their plans, but he was also using such a strange technique in battle. They had seen people who could heal injuries, but they had never seen someone who could heal such a large area. They couldn't even hold their own against him. Even if they kept taking pills, they wouldn't be able to keep up with his healing. As soon as the order was given, several heavenly gods quickly surrounded Etienne. One by one, they burst out their strongest power and rushed towards Etienne. They had to kill Etienne first no matter what. They could put Shotian Region Master and the others aside and focus on killing Etienne first. If you want to kill him, you'll have to ask us first. The great Devis and the others quickly intercepted them and engaged in a fierce battle with these heavenly gods. They had to protect Etienne no matter what, regardless of whether it was when they had saved the Shotian god realm or now that they were in an extremely important position. They had to prioritize Etienne. There was a significant difference in overall strength between the two sides. With Etienne's powerful healing, they might be able to win this battle, and they might even suffer very few losses. As such, they had to protect Etienne no matter what. For a time, it could be said that Etienne was protected inside and out. As the healer, he continuously cast healing techniques from the center, allowing them to heal quickly. This Voodoo Wood Divine set is really good stuff. If I can continue to upgrade it, wouldn't it be heaven-defying? Etienne would use this Voodoo Wood Divine set every time he fought a team battle. It was definitely a life-saving divine tool. Chapter 1585. Etienne was completely unscathed by the layers of protection around him. As for Heavenly God Torrent Cloud's rage, it couldn't even reach Etienne. If Heavenly God Torrent Cloud were to charge over, then the other patriarchs really wouldn't be able to survive. After all, they had a massive advantage over the patriarchs. They had 4 of them. As for the heavenly gods, they did indeed have fewer, but with Etienne's healing, they would be able to hold on. Now, it was time to see who could hold on longer. The first to collapse would be the first to lose. Judging from the current situation, it was clear that Heavenly God Torrent Cloud's side would collapse. After all, no matter how much they healed, they wouldn't be able to match up to Etienne's full support. Etienne was currently enjoying the experience points rolling in. He didn't even need to do anything to earn a large sum of experience points. At first, he had wanted to participate in the battles, but later on, he wasn't even allowed to participate. They were all protecting him, which made him feel quite exasperated. The main thing was that he was the main force of the main force. He could control all the risks and heal all the cultivators. As such, he was no longer allowed to fight. The others would fight, while Etienne would be responsible for healing. However, he was quite happy with this arrangement. After all, as a support healer, he would be able to earn everything from the cultivators the others killed, including those items. If he were to charge around recklessly, they would be terrified. They definitely didn't want him to do as he pleased. Unless he didn't use the Voodoo Wood Divine set in the first place, no one would stop him. Right now, he could only stay here obediently and watch as they made their move. Even so, there were still a few heavenly gods charging over in a frenzy. The rest of the cultivators didn't pay any attention to them. Instead, they all charged over and sent the group of heavenly gods who were intercepting them flying. None of the injuries on their bodies remained. At most, they would take some pills and attack again. In contrast, Etienne's side didn't even need to take pills to heal their injuries. This was extremely easy. If they felt like they were too slow, they could take pills to heal themselves. How were they supposed to die? Unless he poked his head out and faced an existence with a cultivation several levels higher than him. He wouldn't die no matter what. It was precisely because they knew this that they rushed over in a frenzy. No matter what, they had to kill Eteonion first. Get out of my way! The group of Empyrean gods roared angrily. Among them, the Sacred Peak Region Master was the vanguard. The power of a mid-level Empyrean god was naturally not to be underestimated. No matter what, it was the joint attack of two great forces. If they couldn't even unleash a little bit of power, it would really be terrible. However, the people of the Heaven Cultivation God realm were also desperately trying to stop them. The two of them clashed back and forth, creating intense explosions that swept out in all directions. It had been a long time since such an intense battle had occurred. Hold on! We must hold on! Area Lord Shiotian's eyes were bloodshot. No matter what, they had to hold on to this place and prevent the enemy from killing their way in. Under their stubborn defense, they really managed to resist their attacks again and again. Vaguely, they even had a suppressive effect. Just when they thought they could hold on, suddenly, a figure appeared behind Eteonion, holding a long sword and slashing at his waist. The sharp sword technique only took one stab, but it had the effect of waving 100 swords, instantly enveloping Eteonion's body. A mole! The people who noticed this quickly felt their hearts sink. What they saw was actually Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords making a move. Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords had always been on their side, and he was a very good upper-level Heavenly Venerate. The explosive power he could unleash could exchange hundreds of blows with a lower-level Empyrean god without being defeated. They didn't expect that Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords, who had always been very upright, was actually a mole. He had quietly come over, seemingly to protect Eteonion, but in reality, he was risking his life to kill Eteonion. The Heavenly Venerates around him narrowed their eyes. They wanted to rush over to help, but it was already too late. The Sacred Peak Region Master and the others all revealed cruel smiles. Finally, the mole that they had planted here had worked. Even when the plan was launched, they did not expose all the mole, and they were still planted here. They did not expect to use it at this time, and everything was perfect. The attack had already locked onto Eteonion, and there was basically no way for him to escape. In addition, his strength was not weak, and he could even exchange hundreds of blows with the Empyrean god without being defeated, which meant that his strength was enough to instantly kill Eteonion. An upper-level Heavenly Venerate could not instantly kill a middle-level Heavenly Venerate? That was impossible. Die! The spirit sword in Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords' hand turned into countless piercing rainbows, directly locking onto Eteonion's head, making sure to kill him in one blow. Heavenly Venerate Swordmaster and the others on the side saw this situation and only glanced at it indifferently, too lazy to care. Only those cultivators who did not know about Eteonion's situation felt that their hearts were about to fly out of their chests. If Eteonion died, their long-term combat power would definitely drop a lot. Swoosh! A ray of light that was faster than this long sword directly penetrated Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords' head, directly blasting him into pieces. As for those attacks, they did not even touch his skin. Not to mention killing Eteonion, they did not even have the chance to interrupt his healing. He was instantly killed. Sacred Peak Region Master and the others' crazy smiles froze just like that. None of them had seen Eteonion's power, and they thought that Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords would definitely be able to kill him in one blow. Who would have thought that it would be Heavenly Venerate 100 Swords who would be killed in one blow? You want to kill me with just this guy? Eteonion said indifferently. No matter what, you should at least send a few heavenly gods. How can these small fries be enough to fill my teeth? Heavenly Venerate Swordmaster and the others laughed. Thinking back to when Eteonion was not a Heavenly Venerate, he could instantly kill a middle-level Heavenly Venerate and even fight against an upper-level Heavenly Venerate. Now that he had broken through to become a middle-level Heavenly Venerate, a mere upper-level Heavenly Venerate wanted to play with him? Without a Heavenly God level, it was impossible to get close. Damn it! They roared. If this continued, they would definitely be in more and more danger. How were they supposed to play when that time came? Were they supposed to retreat now? If they retreated, they would not be willing to. Of course, Region Master Shiotian and the others also did not want to let them leave. They would do their best to keep them here and not let them escape. They also would not allow these guys to come and go as they pleased. No matter what, they had to give them an explanation. Give it your all. Sacrifice yourselves for me. At this moment, heavenly god Torrential Cloud said indifferently, "When my lord becomes a god emperor, you will all be revived." The Sacred Peak region master and the others were startled. Then their eyes turned red, and they gritted their teeth. They had no choice. They had already sworn oaths and could not resist orders. Chapter 1586. The Sacred Peak region lord and the Myriad Heavens region lord were going to sacrifice themselves to unleash their greatest power. It wasn't just the Sacred Peak region lord and the Myriad Heavens region lord. All the other cultivators were going to unleash their greatest power. Or rather, they were going to burn all of their power. The effect of this was naturally extremely bad. They would either die or be heavily injured. There was no other choice, especially in a situation where he had to defeat his opponent. If he couldn't win for a long time, he would definitely die first. Could they survive by burning their own life force? Empyrean god Torrential Cloud told them to burn their life force to release themselves. Given the current situation, if they didn't do this, it would be a waste of time. If they kept delaying, they would definitely die. Even though burning their life force might not be able to defeat their opponents, it was better than being stuck in a stalemate. His Excellency will revive us. The Sacred Peak region lord and the Myriad Heavens region lord's eyes turned bloodshot. They began to burn their life force like crazy believers. It wasn't just them. The other cultivators all began to burn their life force as well. Only the evil spirit race didn't do so. The others all began to burn their life force. They were going all out, and they were burning their life force to a great extent. They immediately detonated their life force, causing their combat power to skyrocket. Although the price was high, the effect was the most obvious, and it could be seen immediately. The expressions of Shotian region lord and the others changed. They didn't expect everyone to start burning their life force. This way, they who were already at a slight disadvantage would definitely suffer a heavy blow. Unless they also burned their life force, but burning their life force against them would be fatal. Neither pills nor Etienne's powerful healing abilities could easily replenish their life force. The two were not on the same level. If it was so easy to heal them, they would have gone crazy long ago. How crazy? All of them are burning their life force. All of them are madmen. No, they were forced to do so. Etienne glanced at them. In truth, none of them wanted to burn their life force, much less continue fighting. But they had no other choice. Empyrean god Torrential Cloud had them under his control. The Myriad Heavens region lord and the Sacred Peak region lord had to listen to him. As for the others, they had to listen to the Sacred Peak region lord and the others. Thus, as soon as they were given the order, they would all explode. Then, they would be entrusted to that illusory lord. Once they became god emperors, they would be revived. Who knew when they would become god emperors? In any case, they were going to burn themselves now. Empyrean god Tower Cloud was doing all of this for the sake of that treasure. As for what sort of treasure it was, Etienne wasn't sure. The reason why Empyrean god Surging Cloud was willing to risk his life to conquer the Heaven Cultivation God realm was because of that treasure. The Cultivation Heaven Domain Lord was also willing to risk everything to protect this treasure. They're going all out, we're going all out too. Region Lord Xiaotian roared and took the lead in burning his own life force. They also didn't want to burn their life force. Even if they survived, they would suffer severe injuries that would take a long time to recover. Some of them couldn't recover no matter what they did, and had to be supplemented with precious elixirs in order to recover. But now that things had come to this, they could only choose to fight with their lives on the line. But overall, they definitely had an advantage over their opponents. Although Etienne's healing couldn't fill the gap left by life ignition, it could at least heal their injuries. They were both fighting with their lives on the line, but at least they could fight for a while longer. The two groups began to fight fiercely. The Holy Peak region Lord and the Myriad Heavens region Lord led the heavenly gods in a vicious charge. This time, their goal is still the same. that is to kill Etionyan first. Everything else can be put aside. Only by killing Etionyan, who could heal them, would they have a chance to kill Realm Lord Shotion and the others. Stop them! Realm Lord Shotion roared and unleashed all of his power to block the heavenly gods. They weren't the only ones. The patriarchs and the others also unleashed all of their power, all of them willing to sacrifice themselves. Empyrean god Tower Cloud's words were absolute orders. This was the tragedy of signing a contract. Everything was not up to them. It was up to others to decide. This was truly a tragedy. Piss off! The Holy Peak Region Lord and the others were responsible for paving the way. The two Peak Stage Region Lords were naturally powerful, and they charged forward, knocking aside a group of heavenly gods. The other heavenly gods behind them charged forward as well. They wanted to kill Etionyan by force. They wouldn't stop until they killed Etionyan. Hurry up and stop them! Realm Lord Shotion and the others yelled, signaling the other elders to come and help. However, there was still a huge disparity in overall strength, so they couldn't help. In the end, two explosive heavenly gods charged toward Etionyan. Oh no! Their hearts went cold. Forget about the other Empyreans, but an explosive heavenly deity that was in existence on a whole different level. Even if they were lower heavenly gods, their power was still astonishing. They could definitely fight against ordinary lower heavenly venerables or even late heavenly venerables. Etionyan was only a middle heavenly venerable. How could they deal with him? Even heavenly venerable Jianxi and the others were nervous. This was a heavenly god that was burning his life force. How could they deal with him easily? Etionyan narrowed his eyes. Indeed, explosive heavenly gods gave him great pressure, but that was all. Level up! Ding! Congratulations to player Etionyan for successfully breaking through to middle heavenly venerable middle stage. Through continuous accumulation of experience, he had already reached the level of breaking through. Facing two heavenly gods, he naturally had to continue to level up. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to deal with them. 5 Dragons Roar! Etionyan waved the 5 Dragons' divine spear in his hand. 5 giant dragons whizzed forward. Combined with the effect of crazy damage mode, his combat power was greatly increased. The 5 giant dragons collided with them, and with a boom, the 2 explosive heavenly gods were blown away. His astonishing battle prowess stunned them all. A middle heavenly venerable could explode with the strength of a heavenly god? Wasn't this a joke? Reality wasn't joking with them. Etionyan's attack caused them to quickly separate, and at the same time, they suffered some injuries. This was facing a pincer attack from 2 heavenly gods, and he was still able to repel them. This power was terrifying. This wasn't over yet. A figure suddenly appeared beside one of the heavenly gods. It was Etionyan's body that wasn't considered burly. When he appeared beside the heavenly god, he fiercely swung his spear and directly pierced through the heavenly god's head. The attack was so fast that the heavenly god couldn't even react. After breaking through, he was even more heaven-defying. Chapter 1587. An explosive celestial was still killed by Etionyan. This kind of strength was really amazing. Etionyan was also surprised by his own strength. The increase in the basic foundation, coupled with the crazy damage mode, was really a perfect match. In addition, these celestial gods were not familiar with his fighting style, so they were naturally easily killed. Even if they exploded, they would still be killed by him. Bastard! After the other celestial god reacted, he roared and continued to attack. This time, he was prepared and was on full alert, worried that Etionyan would choose to sneak attack again. But Etionyan did not even think of continuing to sneak attack. Sneak attacks were fresh the first time, but a second time might not work. Especially against these celestial gods who used their full strength, the difficulty was undoubtedly a little higher. Open for me! The 5 dragon bracers in Etionyan's hands flashed, and light quickly rushed up from the bracers and poured into the 5 dragon divine spear, directly increasing its power by a large margin. 5 dragon strengthening can greatly enhance the power of the 5 dragon divine spear, and at the same time increased the strength of the arm by 10 times. This was the skill effect of the bracers. Not only could it enhance the power of the 5-dragon divine spear, but it could also increase the strength of one's arm by 10 times. This was the effect of a middle-level Empyrean spirit treasure, and it was quite amazing. Boom! The 5 dragons that shot out became several times larger, and their power greatly increased. This celestial god who rushed over stared with wide eyes. He did not expect that Etianyin could still become stronger, and he thought that was the limit. With a crazy exchange of blows, Etianyin actually exchanged several blows with the celestial god, and there was no sign of him being defeated. Not only that, but the healing effect of Etianyin continued, and did not stop. Their original goal was to interrupt Etianyin's healing, or kill him. Now let alone kill Etianyin. They could not even interrupt his healing, as expected of a celestial god who burns his life. Even if he increased his cultivation and erupted with 2 Empyrean spirit treasures, it is still not easy to deal with him. Etianyin brandished the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand in a frenzy. His opponent also continuously blocked or counterattacked. But in his heart, he was horrified. A mere mid-level Empyrean was normally just an ant. But now, not only was this ant not weak, he even had the power to counterattack. Forget about him. Even the others were deeply shocked. The heavenly god on their side was almost beaten up. Junior brother broke through again. This is truly inconceivable. Even if a heavenly deity went all out, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Little junior brother is indeed little junior brother. He doesn't need us to worry at all. He always makes us worry for nothing. That's right. We've been worrying for nothing. Every time, they turn their inferior quality into an advantage and crush them easily. Heavenly Venerable Sword C and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. They originally thought that Etianyin would be attacked fiercely, but who knew that it would be the other party who would be attacked fiercely? Even if they tied, Etianyin would still be the winner. After all, Etianyin didn't burn his life. If the other party burned his life, in terms of endurance, he would definitely be inferior to Etianyin. If this continued, Etianyin would definitely win. What's going on? Is he still a heavenly venerable? Sacred Peak Region Master and the rest didn't know where Etianyin came from. How could he be so heaven-defying? Again, Etianyin laughed loudly and fought to his heart's content. He crazily brandished the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand, and the 5-dragon gauntlet kept increasing his strength. Every time he smashed, his opponent would be knocked back a distance. It was a pity that he couldn't equip the evil Lord of Heaven set. Otherwise, his strength would definitely be even more heaven-defying. In order to be able to continue healing everyone, he could only do this, losing a portion of his combat power in exchange for the endurance of everyone, so it was still very worth it. Under Etianyin's suppression, the other party kept retreating. If this continued, he would definitely lose. He didn't expect that even with his full strength, he could only fight to a draw. How could this heavenly god tolerate this? But he couldn't tolerate it. He couldn't kill Etianyin. On the contrary, as time passed, Etianyin gradually pressed down on him, making him unable to breathe. Finally, after a while, Etianyin took advantage of the gap in the opponent's defense and killed him with one move. Just like that, the sharp 5-dragon divine spear opened a hole in his body. This wasn't the end. Etianyin continued to sweep crazily and cut his opponent into 4 pieces. Ding successfully killed a heavenly god. Reward: 6 million compressed EXP, 50,000 compressed crazy point. A bunch of data flooded Etianyin's mind again. Successfully killing a heavenly god made Etianyin feel very comfortable. Before, he used a sneak attack and used all kinds of moves to kill a heavenly god. Now, he can suppress a heavenly god with a frontal attack. Of course, this heavenly god's level can only be regarded as ordinary, not the top level, let alone an ancient heavenly god. But this is already enough to deter a group of people. Etianyin used his own strength to slap them in the face. So many people risked their lives to kill, and even 2 heavenly gods, the end result is death, no exception. These heavenly gods are not bad, but they're still a bit lacking. Can you send more? Yun just stood in the same place and continued to heal the injuries of his companions. Except for a slightly lower aura, the rest of the injuries were not a problem. He just consumed a bit more energy. The other injuries are really not a big deal. With the super healing effect, naturally there will be no problem. The St. Peak Domain Lord's face was pale. What can they do now? They had already gone all out in order for 2 heavenly deities to kill their way over. Now, they really didn't have any spare time. A bunch of trash. Heavenly God Torrential Cloud cursed. He went all out on his side, but he can't even kill a heavenly master. How can he survive? What are you still doing? Be fierce. Kill them all. Immediately after, Heavenly God Torrential Cloud cursed again, telling them to go all out, don't delay anymore. Now that they are burning their life force, what is the concept of being fierce? Boom! Soon, a loud explosion sounded. The 2 heavenly gods in the process of fighting directly self-destructed. The power of a heavenly god's self-destruction is very terrifying. It directly blasted the surrounding cultivators. They were seriously injured. Some even had their legs broken. Some even lost half of their body. The effect of a heavenly god's self-destruction immediately manifested. It blasted a large number of people. The disadvantage is that even their own people were blown up, but the advantage is more obvious. It blew up a big hole. What is fierce? This is even more fierce. Chapter 1588. Boom! Another heavenly god exploded, sending Region Lord Xiaotian and the others flying. All of them were slightly injured. Fortunately, with the help of medicinal pills and Tianyan's super support, the injuries on their body quickly recovered. However, the gap had already been created, and 3 heavenly gods charged toward Tianyan. There had been 2 before, but now there were 3 heavenly gods. Their cultivation bases were a level higher than before, and one of them was a late-stage lesser heavenly god, far more powerful than the heavenly god who had fought against Tianyan. The heavenly god who had fought against Tianyan was only an early-stage lesser heavenly god. Now, he had directly skipped 2 levels and reached the level of a late-stage lesser celestial god. Coupled with the fact that he had burned his life force, there was no need to even mention how powerful he was. They self-detonated several heavenly gods not only because they wanted to make Region Lord Xiaotian and the others pay the price, but also because they wanted to force them back so they could rush over and kill Tianyan. They had really gone all out this time. They had paid a hefty price to kill Tianyan. However, this was the only price they could pay to break through the defense of Region Lord Xiaotian and the others. Region Lord Xiaotian and the others were not so aggressive. They had chosen to defend and slowly wear these guys down. However, these guys couldn't afford to wear them down, so they could only resort to cruel self-detonation. In the end, Heavenly God Torrential Cloud didn't want to take things slowly. He wanted to be quick and use the most violent method to suppress them. The effect was very obvious and very vicious. A large part of the sturdy defense was quickly disintegrated. This was the style of the evil spirit race. Even their own people were willing to pay any price to achieve their goals. Quick, go and save them. Region Lord Xiaotian gritted his teeth. He hadn't even been happy before, but now he had let quite a few heavenly gods go. Even if they were prepared, it would not be easy to stop such a self-detonation. Okay, the other heavenly gods wanted to quickly go and help, but there were several heavenly venerables standing in their way. Boom! These heavenly venerables self-detonated without hesitation, sending the heavenly gods who wanted to go and help them flying. He didn't expect that after the first wave of self-destruction, another wave would come. Now no one could come to help. It should be said that they couldn't help even if they wanted to. These fellows came one after another to self-destruct as if they didn't care about money. The many years of nurturing seemed to have been meaningless. With a single self-detonation, it was reduced to dust, leaving nothing behind. This was exactly what Empyrean God Torrential Cloud wanted. As long as he could win, everything else would be fine. Die! The eyes of the 3 heavenly gods that rushed over were red. If Tianyan didn't die, then they would. Numerous Empyrean spirit treasures appeared in the surroundings. They were already prepared to deal a fatal blow. 3 heavenly gods. Etienne felt that things were getting tricky. These fellows were going all out, and they were even working together. It was possible to deal with them alone, but it would be quite difficult to deal with them together. However, he did not panic. Instead, he took a step forward and entered the void. The void bloodline wasn't just for show. As long as it was used well, it would have unexpected effects. He disappeared. He entered the void. He has the power of the void. The hearts of the 3 heavenly gods sank. Sure enough, they were not dealing with a small fry. Then, they waved the Empyrean spirit treasures in their hands and attacked the void beside them. The void here was not sturdy and could be destroyed. Following a loud explosion, a large area of the void collapsed. Immediately after, a figure appeared behind them, waving the 5-dragon divine spear and launching a sneak attack in their direction. However, they were already prepared. The 3 of them quickly joined forces, and the 9 Empyrean spirit treasures circled around and launched a vicious pincer attack on Etienne. They had already seen Etienne's sneak attack ability before. How could they fall for it again? Thus, in the instant that Etienne launched a sneak attack, they had already launched a pincer attack. Their coordination was seamless. Kuanpeng bloodline, fully open. Dragon Phoenix divine meridians, fully open. The 2 speed-enhancing bloodlines were fully activated here, and their speed instantly soared. They instantly escaped the pincer attack and attacked the heavenly god with the lowest cultivation. Their attacks were very good, but Etienne's speed was even more astonishing. After easily dodging the attack, he pierced through with his spear and stabbed one of the heavenly gods. At the same time, he sneered and said, "I don't just have the ability to sneak attack. Idiot." He quickly flicked and cut another heavenly god in half at the waist, killing him instantly. If Etienne only had this bit of sneak attack ability, he would have died many times already. He had many abilities, and when he used them layer by layer, they knew what a nightmare was. The 3 of them launched a pincer attack, but one of them was still killed by Etienne. To them, it was really a great humiliation. However, they did not fly into a rage. Instead, they attacked again and directly surrounded him from all sides, sealing off all escape routes. Too naive. That was just bait. You can't escape this time. They used all their skills. If they still could not keep Etienne here, then they would really have to die. However, it was true that their companion was bait, but they absolutely did not expect that the bait would lead to their deaths. This was something they never expected. Now that things had come to this, they had no way out. They could only use their killer moves to directly suppress Etienne. In an instant, the heavenly venerate spiritual treasures that surrounded him. Each one emitted a dazzling light. They were even completely overdrawing their heavenly venerate spiritual treasures. This time, they really went all out to kill this evil heavenly venerate to avoid future troubles. All the cultivators watching this side, whether they were on their side or the enemy's side, felt their hearts tighten. The Xiutian domain master and the others felt that they could not be killed, but the enemy felt that they must be killed. You are too naive. Level up. Ding. Congratulations to player Etienne for successfully breaking through to the late middle heavenly venerate cultivation base. Boom. After deducting a large amount of experience, Etienne successfully leveled up again. All this time, he had been constantly gaining experience. After all, as a support, he could gain experience when others killed the enemy. Therefore, from the beginning of the fight, he had been constantly earning experience, and now he could level up again. After leveling up, his aura was like a rainbow. He waved the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand and directly collided head-on with them. 5-dragon roar. 5 giant dragons whizzed forward and collided with their attacks. Boom! A shocking explosion spread in all directions. The group of people's hearts tightened, and they all paid attention to this side. Was Etienne dead or alive? Chapter 1589. After being attacked fiercely, Etienne actually withstood it. This performance shocked them greatly. He could be even stronger, How is that possible? They all used all their skills. According to Etienne's previous performance, he definitely couldn't have easily withstood it. Now, not only did he resist, he could even withstand most of the power, and the injuries he suffered were only light injuries. This shocked them. Did he feel stronger again? Or was it that Etienne's defensive power was so strong to begin with? Carefree again, Etienne laughed loudly. It felt great to be able to face them head-on. This was the effect he wanted. Being able to crazily crush all the way. That was the right way. Although sneak attacks were also good, compared to facing them head-on, it was still lacking. He liked to use this kind of unparalleled strength to face the opponent head-on. That was manly. Etienne seemed to have become a warmonger now. He waved the 5-dragon divine spear and swept it down, stabbing down again and again, fighting to a draw with these Empyrean gods. Logically speaking, Etienne was still lacking, but he made full use of his advantage and speed, quickly dodging their attacks and then clashing head-on with them, achieving the effect of a draw. It seemed like a pity that it was a draw, but in everyone's eyes, this was the most terrifying thing. A Middle Empyrean fighting to a draw with an Empyrean god was simply inconceivable. If it were anyone else who could do this, even an ancient Empyrean couldn't play like this, right? It was already very good that an ancient Empyrean could exchange a few blows with an ordinary Empyrean god and not be defeated. Now that he was fighting with 2 explosive Empyrean gods for so long, he was a freak among freaks. If this continued, Etienne would definitely win. After all, he didn't burn his life, but the other party did. As time passed, he would gradually become weaker and weaker, and soon, he would be unable to do as he wished. Madman, he's definitely a madman. The 2 Empyrean gods had ugly expressions. Every attack was like hitting cotton. They couldn't exert any strength at all. No matter how fiercely they attacked, it was meaningless. If Etienne could dodge it, even if they fought him head-on, they would still fight to a draw. What was the point of playing? If this continued, they would be dead for sure. Not only were they doomed, but their companions were doomed as well. As long as Etienne remained, his healing effect would continue to envelop the entire area. His endurance far exceeded theirs, so naturally, they couldn't afford to play with him. Explode! The St. Peak Domain Master's eyes were red. He could only sacrifice 2 of his subordinates. The 2 Empyrean gods were stunned at first. Then they gritted their teeth, their eyes filled with unwillingness. However, they still pounced forward without hesitation. After all, they had no control over their own bodies. They had signed an absolute loyalty contract, so they naturally had to listen to the orders of their region master. These god realms were just that sick. When they joined, they had to sign an absolute loyalty contract. If he wanted them to self-detonate, they had to do it. There was no other choice, and they couldn't resist it. The 2 of them attacked Etienne from the front and back. Then all the energy in their bodies burst out. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power of the explosion swept over and completely enveloped Etienne. The crazy explosion made it impossible for Etienne to teleport. This kind of explosion also had the effect of sealing the space. In particular, the explosion of the 2 Empyrean gods was equivalent to a super strong attack from an intermediate Empyrean god. Etienne quickly tore the space apart and quickly hid in the void. Even if he couldn't block all the attacks, he could at least block some of the power. Let's see how you survive this time. The St. Peak Domain Master's eyes were red. They had sacrificed so much this time, but they still couldn't kill Etienne. Soon, the explosion disappeared, and Etienne's figure appeared from the void. There was a thick layer of shield around his body. It was a super strong shield released from the wrist guard in his hand. Even so, he had still suffered serious injuries. His body was covered in blood, and he looked very miserable. However, with his super strong healing ability, his injuries recovered quickly. It wouldn't take long for him to completely recover. He's fine? The St. Peak Domain Master and the others were furious. 2 Empyrean gods had attacked from the front and back, and under such circumstances, he was only injured. When the explosion happened before, even intermediate Empyrean gods would be injured, and some would even be on the verge of death. Under such circumstances, Tianyin had only suffered relatively serious injuries, but they weren't fatal. He just needed a little more time to completely recover. There was no doubt that the explosion had failed, and it still didn't kill Tianyin. Fortunately, I almost died. Tianyin looked at the wrist guard in his hand. Fortunately, he had refined the 5-dragon wrist guard. Not only could it increase his strength, but it could also increase his defense to the maximum, forming a super strong shield that could withstand the attack of Empyrean God. However, the attack was too strong. He hid in the void, and with the help of the 5-dragon wrist guard, he finally withstood it. This also had to do with his strong body. With a strong body and the power of 2 bloodlines, he wouldn't die so easily. Of course, he wasn't afraid of death at all. After all, he had been reborn from the ashes. However, the fact that he was able to withstand it also proved that he was not weak. It was even more shocking than being reborn from the ashes. This kind of explosion is like firecrackers. How disappointing. Can you come up with something stronger? Tianyin laughed loudly. The injuries on his body were quickly recovering. Even though he couldn't move freely, he could still talk. All right. Everyone's morale soared when they saw that Tianyin was fine. With Tianyin's support, they would be able to continue fighting. At the same time, they were also very shocked by Tianyin's strength. With this kind of strength, why would he need their protection? Trash. What a bunch of trash. You can't even kill him like this? What a bunch of trash. Empyrean God Sky Surge was about to explode with rage. They had paid such a heavy price, but they couldn't even take down a heavenly venerate. To him, they really were a bunch of trash. Now that they had self-detonated, their drawbacks were immediately revealed. Their numbers were rapidly decreasing. Their advantage in numbers was slowly becoming a disadvantage. If things continued like this, forget about crushing them. They would even be able to wipe out all of them. Empyrean God Sky Surge. You're going to lose for sure. Empyrean God Yudong continued to exchange blows with Empyrean God Sky Surge, but they were still evenly matched. Even though Empyrean God Yudong was more powerful than Empyrean God Sky Surge, he was still unable to take down Empyrean God Sky Surge with ease. Empyrean God Sky Surge was a member of the evil spirit tribe, and he had absorbed the bloodlines of countless powerful beings. In particular, he was an elder of the Heaven Cultivation God realm, which allowed him to easily devour those cultivators. I'm going to lose? Empyrean God Sky Surge chuckled coldly. It's not certain who's going to lose yet. Chapter 1590. Boom! After clashing with Heavenly God Yudong, Heavenly God Towering Cloud hurriedly retreated. He looked at the cultivators before him with a displeased expression. What a bunch of useless fools. What a waste of time and resources to nurture all of you. Even after joining forces, they still can't defeat a divine realm. What a bunch of trash. This is the only thing I can do now. Heavenly God Towering Cloud pulled out a black crystal before crushing it viciously. An inky black energy wafted out from the shattered crystal before being sucked into his nostrils. Moments later, Heavenly God Towering Cloud's body began to expand to an enormous size. The 4 wings on his back became 6, and 12 arms also sprouted from his back, all of which were wielding different Heavenly Venerate spirit treasures or Heavenly God spirit treasures. His aura surged explosively, and he actually forcibly raised it to the aura of an upper-level Heavenly God, crushing the group of people. Such an explosion of evolution caused many people to hold their breaths, as they felt an incomparable pressure. This was especially so for his burly body, which was covered with black crystals. His perfect physique gave off an extremely valiant feeling. Tianyin's expression instantly darkened as he looked over. Bloodline Awakening Eruption greatly enhances one's own power, granting one invincible power. Only beings with extremely dense bloodlines would be able to unleash this divine technique. Heavenly God Towering Cloud had used the Awakening Divine Stone to forcibly activate the awakening effect of his bloodline power, but he wouldn't be able to last very long. So this was a bloodline awakening eruption. No wonder it was so terrifying. The increase in power wasn't just a little bit. It was a jump of several levels in a row. How is this still the same level as before? Even though he wouldn't be able to last very long, he would still be able to last for a while. This peerlessly powerful aura was more than enough to crush all of them. This was an extremely powerful higher heavenly god, and heavenly god Yudong was also a higher heavenly god. Who knew what would happen in a battle like this? Trash like you are all ants in the face of our perfect bloodlines. Heavenly god Towering Cloud roared with laughter as he swung the heavenly venerate spirit treasure in his hand, clashing with heavenly god Yudong. Boom! Heavenly god Yudong was knocked flying. Even his frontal attack was no match for heavenly god Towering Clouds. After sending Empyrean Lord Yudong flying, Empyrean god Tower Cloud immediately charged towards Etianyun. He was going to attack Etianyun no matter what. He had been suppressing his anger for a very long time. He had wanted to charge over and kill him, but Empyrean god Yudong had blocked his path. Originally, he didn't want to erupt, but now he was forced to. After erupting, he would suffer losses. If it wasn't harmful to his body, he would have exploded a long time ago and wouldn't have waited until now. Unless it was absolutely necessary, no one wanted to overdraft their own life to attack. Brat, hand over your life. Empyrean god Tower Cloud let out a thunderous roar as he charged forward in a frenzy. All of the cultivators in his path dodged and evaded him. Against an upper-level heavenly god, he really did not have the courage to resist. Even if he did, he would become cannon fodder. However, there were some who were unable to dodge quickly and immediately turned into a bloody mist. Regardless of whether they were allies or enemies, Empyrean god Tower Cloud completely ignored them as he swept his way forward. Run! The great Devis and the others immediately sent mental messages to Etianyun, telling him to hurry up and flee. Without question, Empyrean god Tower Cloud was charging straight for Etianyun. If he didn't flee in time, Etianyun would definitely be blasted to smithereens. Etianyun was capable of defeating lesser Empyrean gods, and he could even exchange a few blows with intermediate Empyrean gods. However, there was no way he would be able to withstand a monstrously powerful Empyrean god like Tower Cloud. Thus, they all urged Etianyun to flee before it was too late. Even Etianyun felt the pressure on him increase, to say nothing of them. In the face of Empyrean god Tower Cloud's ferocious attacks, he would definitely be unable to resist at all and would be insta-killed. Let's go! Etianyun didn't hesitate at all. He immediately turned and fled. It wasn't that he was a coward. Rather, it was that this was the wisest choice. In addition, this was a way to draw him away from the battlefield. If he was allowed to do as he pleased, he would make a huge mess of things. You want to run? Empyrean god Tower Cloud was naturally not going to let Etianyun off the hook. His speed immediately increased by several dozen times as he charged toward Etianyun. He caught up to Etianyun in the blink of an eye. Even Etianyun was unable to see his terrifying speed. Is this the power of a higher heavenly god? Or could it be that the evil spirit tribe possesses such terrifying power after awakening their bloodlines? Etianyun's heart jolted. He felt like this power was on a whole new level compared to that of Empyrean god Yudong. They were both at the early heavenly god stage, so why was there such a massive disparity between them? In the next instant, Empyrean god Tower Cloud extended a hand toward him. His massive hand was like the inky black sky as it came crashing down, cutting off all avenues of escape. Get in here! Empyrean god Tower Cloud's hand was extremely powerful, making it impossible for Etianyun to teleport away. It was as if he were surrounded by a series of thick walls that he was unable to pass through. All of a sudden, all of his abilities had been rendered useless. In the face of this peerlessly powerful attack, he was completely powerless. Looks like I'm dead for sure. Etianyun really felt like there was no way he could resist this attack unless his cultivation base improved to a higher level. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to defend himself. He wanted to level up now, but he couldn't even do that. He was still a long way off in terms of experience. In particular, the amount of experience required to break through to the upper heavenly venerate was astronomical. Even if he killed heavenly gods, he would have to kill several dozen of them before he could progress to the upper heavenly venerate. In this dire situation, a massive hand suddenly reached out from within the cultivation god realm before grabbing onto Empyrean god Tower Cloud's hand and crushing it. Bam! Empyrean god Tower Cloud's massive black hand was crushed, just like that. Empyrean god Tower Cloud let loose a muffled groan as he flew through the air. Black blood gushed from his mouth, indicating that he had sustained severe injuries. "How dare a mere insect like you run amok in my territory?" A projection appeared from within the cultivation god realm. This massive projection was like a god emperor that had descended upon this entire area. The cultivation, heaven realm lord, and the others all looked on with reverence in their eyes. "We pay our respects, Patriarch." This projection was none other than the Patriarch of the cultivation god realm. He possessed peerless power and had awakened from his slumber. Upper heavenly god final stage. Yun drew a sharp intake of breath. He didn't think that there would be such a powerful being within the cultivation god realm. Why had he only appeared now? In his eyes, there was only one possibility, and that was that he didn't have long to live, or that he was just a projection. Chapter 1591. After the ancestor appeared, he severely wounded Empyrean god Torrential Cloud in just a few blows. The seemingly invincible Empyrean god Torrential Cloud was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The wings on his back quickly retracted. At the same time, the 12 arms quickly returned to their original state. His powerful physique had become shriveled up, his blood energy depleted, scattering extremely badly. This was the consequence of forcibly awakening a bloodline. Once interrupted, one's blood energy would be depleted, and one's body would become shriveled up like an old man. This power, Empyrean god Torrential Cloud's eyes were filled with terror. The Empyrean god realm has a patriarch like this? It was clear that Empyrean god Torrential Cloud didn't know about such a powerful being. He had been in the Empyrean god realm for so long, but he didn't even know about this patriarch. He had lived like a dog. Die! The patriarch reached out toward Empyrean god Torrential Cloud again, scaring him out of his wits. He took out a special black crystal, similar to the one he had taken before, but different. After crushing it, the void suddenly shattered, and a giant hand reached out and pulled him into the void. The void quickly filled back up, and everything was the same as before. The patriarch's attack naturally missed. It struck the void, and layers of terrifying energy spread out, giving the Holy Peak region Lord and the others a fright. "Run! Run!" The Holy Peak region Lord and the others immediately turned tail and ran. Even Empyrean god Torrential Cloud, who was controlling them, had fled. A bunch of disrespectful fools. "Stay where you are." The patriarch waved his hand and continued to strike down, killing an Empyrean god with extreme ease. Lesser Empyrean gods and intermediate Empyrean gods were all killed with ease. When they saw the scene before them, all of them were extremely excited. Things were different with the help of a patriarch. He killed the invaders and even saved them. Otherwise, they would have been crushed by Empyrean god Torrential Cloud. Even if they survived, they probably wouldn't have much left. Yun's heart was dripping blood when he saw this. His voodoo wood divine set couldn't support Patriarch Heaven Cultivation, so he wouldn't gain any experience points when Patriarch Heaven Cultivation killed these heavenly gods. Damn it, that Patriarch Heaven Cultivator is just an illusion. I can't heal him at all. Yun couldn't even help Patriarch Heaven Cultivator if he wanted to. How was he supposed to help without a physical body? However, he didn't just stand there and watch. With a loud roar, he charged towards the other heavenly deities. If he could kill one, it would be one. He really wanted to break through to the upper sky sovereign realm. Every time he fought against those high-level heavenly gods, he felt a sense of helplessness. Therefore, breaking through his cultivation was imperative. Little junior brother seems to be angered. Just now, little junior brother was almost killed. That's right. He's probably very angry now and wants revenge. Poor little junior brother. Look at his expression. It's like he's missing some treasure. I can understand his feelings. He was forced into a dead end, yet he still kept chasing after him. What a tragedy. They shook their heads and felt sorry for E.T. Onion. However, they were glad that he was fine. Otherwise, they would have lost such a powerful little junior brother. The surrounding cultivators all felt the same way. Patriarch Heaven Cultivation could have easily taken care of them, but he had to do it himself. It seemed that he hated these invaders very much. Little did they know that E.T. Onion was distressed by the experience points he had lost. How could he be happy about losing so much experience points? That kind of feeling was absolutely incomparable grief. Aw, it's all mine, it's all mine. E.T. Onion brandished the five-dragon divine spear and killed heavenly venerables and heavenly gods one after another. However, he was still a far cry from Patriarch Heaven Cultivation. Patriarch Heaven Cultivation controlled the entire area with each palm strike. No one could escape. In just a short while, all the invaders were dead. Not a single one was left. This kind of power was really too powerful. However, they were puzzled. Why didn't they appear when they first invaded? If they had appeared, their losses wouldn't have been so great. Although they had Etinian support and healing, they had still suffered heavy losses. Many heavenly venerables and heavenly gods had died. If Patriarch Heaven Cultivation had appeared at the beginning, none of the invaders would have been able to return. However, they didn't ask. Who knew what Patriarch Heaven Cultivation was thinking? Perhaps he wouldn't come out until the most critical moment. Sigh. You're on your own. Patriarch Heaven Cultivation sighed deeply and disappeared. He didn't show up in person, nor did he stay any longer. Heavenly God Yudong flew over and knelt deeply. Farewell, Patriarch Heaven Cultivation. Farewell, Patriarch Heaven Cultivation. The other disciples also knelt down to express their highest respect. However, many of them had never seen Patriarch Heaven Cultivation before and didn't know of his existence. Even Heavenly God Torrent Cloud didn't know, let alone the other heavenly venerables and elders. Heavenly God Torrent Cloud had been here for who knew how many years. He was at least at the 1,000-year level, and some were even at the 10,000-year level. After sending off Patriarch Heaven Cultivation, Heavenly God Yudong didn't say much. He just told them to pack up and return to the Heaven Cultivation God realm to heal their injuries. When they all returned to the Great Hall, only the elders were left. One of them couldn't help but ask, Patriarch Yudong, why didn't Patriarch Heaven Cultivation appear at the beginning? Heavenly God Yudong shook his head and sighed deeply. Actually, I was the one who summoned Patriarch Heaven Cultivation. Patriarch Heaven Cultivation has fused with the Heaven Cultivation God realm. Every time he appears, he will fall into a deep slumber for 10,000 years. If it weren't for the fact that I had no other choice, I wouldn't have wasted this opportunity. It will definitely save my life at the most critical moment. It was a little dangerous this time, but it's not the most critical moment yet. After all, with little friend Heavenly Cloud's help, even if there are some sacrifices, it's still possible to stabilize the situation. Heavenly God Yudong explained a little, and they immediately understood what he meant. So there was such a thing. Once he appeared, he would sleep for 10,000 years. Everyone had seen Patriarch Heaven Cultivation's power just now. He was so powerful that he wouldn't even be afraid of several upper heavenly gods. But now, he had wasted it on an upper heavenly god and some mid-level heavenly gods. How could they not feel pity? It was an absolutely life-saving trump card at the most critical moment, but now that he had used it, it was a mixed blessing. Chapter 1592. After everyone heard the news, they looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. Even Heavenly God Torrential Cloud had been rescued just then, so there was undoubtedly an even more powerful force behind the scenes. If they were to make a comeback, they would most likely be unable to stop them. When Zhang Xian first saw the Heaven Ascension sect's old ancestor, he had thought that he was an existence hidden in the depths of the world. Now that he had woken up from his seclusion, he decided to save the Heaven Ascension sect's God realm. However, The truth was that the Heaven Cultivator Patriarch was already dead. It was just that his body and soul had merged with the Heaven Cultivator God domain, so that he could come out at the critical moment to save them. Now that the opportunity was gone, he wouldn't be able to save the situation next time. No wonder Empyrean God Yulong didn't summon it immediately. He didn't want to use it unless he had to. He had no choice but to use it at this critical moment. If they didn't use it now, they would be annihilated. At that time, it would be useless to keep them alive. However, a single Empyrean God Heaven Surge had forced them to summon Patriarch Heaven Repairman. What would happen next? As a result, their hearts grew heavy. First, they had betrayed a large group of people, and now they had to use Ancestor Heaven Cultivation. It could be said that every step from now on would be difficult. Thinking back to what Patriarch Heaven Cultivation had said before, he had told them to take care of themselves. He really did take care of themselves. Is there no way to help Patriarch Sky Cultivator recover quickly, Patriarch Yudong? Even if I don't recover immediately, I can at least recover some of my strength. Realm Lord Heaven Cultivation had no choice but to take a step back and see if there was a way to help Patriarch Heaven Cultivation recover. It would be good if he could shorten it a little. Otherwise, if he waited for it to recover bit by bit, it would be too slow. What do you think of that surge of power, just now? Empyrean God Yudong asked. Very powerful, almost an invincible existence. He has probably reached the late upper heavenly god level, right? Regent Lord Xiutian said. Yes, it's indeed very powerful. It's precisely because it's very powerful that you think there's anything that can easily recover from it? Or should I say, someone who can recover substantially? Empyrean God Yudong asked. This, Area Lord Xiutian, and the others looked at each other in dismay. After thinking about it carefully, they realized that this was indeed the case. The items needed to recover such great power were extremely complicated and of a very high level. Even if they threw everything they had into the Heaven Cultivating God realm, they wouldn't be able to recover much. The stronger one's cultivation was, the slower the rate of recovery would be. The main thing was that the item's grade was too low, so the effects wouldn't be too great. They all had a deep understanding of this point. Pills that were effective for those with low cultivation bases would only have the same effect as an itch to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been stuck at this level and couldn't even take a single step forward. We can only rely on ourselves now. Patriarch Heaven Cultivation is about to enter a deep slumber, but it seems that they won't be able to attack us anytime soon. Heavenly Deity Yudong said solemnly, but we can't let our guard down. We must remain vigilant. If a fight breaks out, we can only defend until the end. Everyone nodded. They already had this thought, and it was impossible for them to retreat. Moreover, it was useless to retreat. With the evil spirit race's personality, they would definitely kill them all and not let a single one of them go. Senior, thank you for summoning Patriarch Heaven Cultivation to save this junior. If it weren't for Senior, this junior would have lost his head long ago, said Tianyun gratefully. If he didn't summon it immediately, he would have been killed. Of course, he wouldn't die. He was afraid of being trapped. That was the most difficult part. After being killed, he could revive very quickly. If he was trapped, he wouldn't be able to escape. After all, if he was trapped, he wouldn't be able to earn experience. He wouldn't be able to escape even if he wanted to. Although he was constantly gaining experience, it was still too little. It was like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water. Right now, he was indeed constantly gaining experience. It was from the divine realm of the three realms. Whenever they made a breakthrough or killed demonic beasts, he would be able to gain experience. But these experience points were too low. The amount of experience he needed now was too high. But if he was really trapped, he could only endure it slowly. When he reached a certain point, he would be able to break through and rush out. No matter what, he had to thank Patriarch Heaven Cultivation for saving his life. Otherwise, Patriarch Talion would have devoured him. At that time, it would not be an easy thing to resurrect. Don't worry about that. You've helped us more. Heavenly Deity Yudong sighed. It's a pity. If I could stop him, it wouldn't be so urgent. Unfortunately, I'm seriously injured and can't recover. Patriarch Yudong, you're injured? They looked at Heavenly Deity Yudong in shock. Heavenly Deity Yudong hadn't been attacked before. How could he be injured? Heavenly deity Yudong gently pulled open his clothes. There were dense black patterns on them. They looked quite terrifying. It was as if something had implanted them on the surface of his body. Evil energy rushed toward him. Their eyes widened. Heavenly deity Yudong had this kind of situation? Tianyun focused his eyes. He looked at heavenly deity Yudong's body and immediately saw some clues. Wretch God's Pearl. Ultra Heavenly God's Spirit Treasure. Seals a portion of the Wretch God's power. The wielder will be slowly devoured. When used, it can summon a powerful Wretch God to resist everything. What's going on? When they saw this scene, they were completely stunned. They didn't expect heavenly deity Yudong's body to look like this. This is the treasure they want. It has been passed down from generation to generation. They used their bodies to seal this evil spirit's pearl. Heavenly deity Yudong said in a low voice, "This has always been a secret. It can only be passed down to the next generation. So it's normal that you don't know. Now that it's exposed, you might as well say it. Otherwise, you won't know what you're guarding." A long time ago, our heavenly deity realm was one of the main forces resisting the main culprits of the battle of God Emperors. After the strongest evil spirits were sealed, we were divided into several regions. Among them, the evil spirit's pearl in my body is sealing the limbs of the evil spirits. Heavenly deity Yudong explained, "I can use the power inside, but my body can't. If I continue to use it, it will continue to corrode. In the end, I could only use the power of heavenly deity realm patriarch. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to deal with them." The simple explanation stunned them all. They didn't expect such a thing to happen. Although Tianyun already knew a little, he couldn't help but be shocked when he heard it. Evil spirits? Heavenly deity realm lord was confused. Yes, there are no records of it now. In fact, the real culprit is the evil spirits, the guy who calls himself evil spirits. But I have to say, he is the expert closest to the God Emperor realm. He plundered a lot of people's bloodlines to break through to the God Emperor realm. Chapter 1593. Empyrean God Yudong gave a simple explanation, and all of them were stunned after hearing it. The general gist of it was that after the evil spirits were sealed, they were sealed in several pearls, each of which contained the bodies of the evil spirits. Once they were gathered, the evil spirits would be resurrected. Who would have thought that they would still be alive, even after being cut into so many pieces? This was enough to show just how terrifying the evil spirits were. Back then, in the battle of Emperor Gods, everything had ended quickly after the evil god had been sealed. Otherwise, the battle would definitely have continued until the evil god had broken through to become an emperor god. No wonder Empyrean god Torrential Cloud has been lurking here for so long. He's searching for the evil spirit's pearl, right? Realm Lord Xiaotian was puzzled. That's right. They're heading straight for the evil spirit's pearl. However, only I know about this. I don't know where Empyrean god Torrential Cloud is. He would never have thought that the heretic god's orb would fuse with the inheritor, right? There's no way to sense it in its normal state. However, the power of the evil spirits is simply too powerful. According to the inheritors, you will be the next inheritor. Empyrean god Yudong looked at Realm Lord Xiaotian. In other words, you will be the next inheritor to use your body to seal the evil spirit's pearl. This process will be painful, but this is the only way to prevent the destruction of the God realm. Realm Lord Xiaotian and the others' hearts trembled. They didn't think that they would be given such an arduous task. The Heaven Cultivation God realm was a very normal God realm, but they were suddenly told that they had to shoulder the responsibility of being the saviors of the world. However, it really isn't worth it to put our Heaven Cultivation God realm in danger. A wry smile appeared on the faces of Realm Lord Xiaotian and the others. They weren't the most powerful faction, but it wasn't worth it to seal this thing. It is indeed not worth it. But we can use the evil spirit's pearl to unleash even more power. Your body is still very strong and young, so you can use it for a long time. When you truly unleash your full power, you will be able to sweep through all intermediate heavenly gods. When you break through to the upper heavenly god stage, you will also be able to stand at an extremely high level among the upper heavenly gods. Moreover, our heavenly God domain is able to obtain the protection of some experts of the older generation. Of course, they didn't seem to have appeared earlier. Perhaps they would only appear at the most critical moment. It's also possible that it won't appear, so I don't dare to take the risk. Towards the end, heavenly deity Yudong felt a little awkward. Who could be certain of the oath he made back then? If the older generation were all in seclusion or had long since ceased to exist, and no one came to rescue them, they would really be waiting for death. Everyone looked at the evil spirit's pearl on heavenly God Yudong's chest. It had already sunk deep into his body. Although he was not injured, his energy had been continuously absorbed, and he was still lacking in strength. Now, I'm telling you about this matter. It's already a critical moment. I have to confess and let you know what responsibility is. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to figure out why we were captured one day, Empyrean God Yudong said. Heavenly Cultivation Realm Lord and the others finally understood why Empyrean God Sky Tower was fighting so desperately. It was all for this evil spirit's pearl. I think those seniors will most likely come to rescue us. If they don't, Empyrean God Sky Tower will definitely bring more of his comrades to attack us. However, he won't dare to do anything rash. A small scuffle might not attract attention, but if he goes overboard, he will most likely attract attention, Onion interjected. Everyone nodded. They had all thought of this. If it weren't for this, the evil spirit tribe would most likely have already charged out. That should be the case. Empyrean God Yudong sighed. However, we lost the evil spirit's pearl. Without this responsibility, the heavenly God domain probably wouldn't have lasted for so long. Most forces will quickly decline, but our heavenly God domain is still very strong. It's all thanks to the protection of our ancestors and the protection of the evil spirit's pearl that we are able to survive. There were so many forces in the heavenly God domain, and it was very common for them to disappear and reappear. The heavenly God domain, being so strong, really did have something to do with the protection of the evil spirit's pearl. Senior, do the 4th grade heavenly God domains have a similar responsibility? Onion asked. I'm not sure about that. Everything is extremely secretive. The most I know is that the evil spirits are divided into several pearls, but I really don't know who takes them and who controls them, Empyrean God Yudong explained. This is most likely for the sake of concealment. This is a very dangerous matter, and it definitely can't be disclosed. Everyone present was a core member of the heavenly God domain, so they were all trustworthy. Only Onion and the others were not disciples of the heavenly God domain, but they had all helped the heavenly God domain, especially Onion, who had helped them a lot. Under such circumstances, Empyrean God Yudong had already regarded him as one of his own, so he naturally wouldn't avoid suspicion. Everyone nodded. The evil spirit's pearl was such a precious treasure, and it was used to seal the evil spirits. If the evil spirit race knew about it, they would definitely rush over to snatch it. Therefore, it was very correct not to disclose it. It had to be completely hidden. As for burying it in the ground, it was better to carry it with him. That was the safest. At the same time, he could use his own strength to suppress it. It was really more effective than any formation. But the price was very obvious. Empyrean God Yudong, who was an upper heavenly god, was affected to this extent. It was enough to show how terrifying the evil spirits were. I can still hold on for a while, but I want to ask you now, are you willing to accept this heavy responsibility? Empyrean God Yudong looked at him with a serious expression. This was a very serious matter. I am willing to accept this heavy responsibility. Heavenly God Domain Lord did not hesitate and immediately agreed. Perhaps others did not know what they had sacrificed, but at least one thing was clear, and that was to continue to seal the evil spirits so that there would not be another battle between God emperors. Only in this way could they protect their own forces. The others did not know, but it was enough to protect their own forces. The great Devis looked at his father and did not say anything. Perhaps the next inheritor would be him. The premise was that he could really wait until then. Etianyan immediately felt deep respect for their actions. It seemed that the heavenly god domain also had a bright side. They sought geniuses and constantly nurtured geniuses. They wanted to greatly strengthen the heavenly god domain in a short period of time, so that they could protect the evil spirit's pearl. However, a super expert was not so easy to nurture. Even a genius would not be able to do so. In this state, it was really dangerous to still protect such a thing. Chapter 1594. Tianyin was very impressed by old Master Chen's awareness. However, if it was him, he would do the same. It was not that he was a savior, but that the evil spirits had brought about a calamity when they had descended. No matter what faction it was, they would be affected. It did not matter if the other factions were affected, but in the end, their own factions would definitely be affected. Moreover, most of the factions had chosen to resist the evil spirit race. So as long as the other factions were not finished, the evil spirit race would not be particularly rampant. Just as he was thinking about something, heavenly deity Yu Dang looked at them and said, "Little friend, your performance this time is excellent. I will put down my pride and ask little friend to help the Heaven Cultivation God Realm. Perhaps the Heaven Cultivation God Realm has let you down, but please do not mind. From today onwards, the Heaven Cultivation God Realm will definitely treat you like an elder. We will not treat you badly either. We will give you all kinds of resources and even provide you with the best cultivation place." Heavenly deity Yu Dang had really put down his pride and come to rope in Tianyin. Everyone had seen Tianyin's performance. Not only could he kill heavenly gods, but he could also heal everyone. He also had the foundation of a 10 refinement Earth Lord. Just these points alone were enough for him to be an elder. However, if Tianyin did not join, he would not be able to become an elder, right? But even if he joined, it would not be so easy to become an elder. He had helped a lot, but it would be too much to become an elder just like that. Many people did not understand what kind of personality Tianyin had and what the real situation was. Becoming an elder just like that was undoubtedly too child's play. The current situation would be better. Most of the heavenly venerables and heavenly gods had received his help, which would undoubtedly help him become an elder. However, he had no interest in the position of an elder. The reason he could come to help the Heaven Cultivation God Realm was largely because the Great Devis was here. Tianyin was not in a hurry to answer. Instead, he turned to look at the Great Devis, wanting to see what his master had to say. If the Great Devis said that he would become an elder, then he would become an elder here. Heavenly Cloud has its own faction, and it has more to manage. There's no need for me to join. The Great Devis shook his head and said, "But you don't need to say anything, Patriarch Yudong. He'll definitely come to help. Just because I'm here as his master, he will definitely come over to help." The Great Devis shook his head and smiled bitterly. As the master, how could he not know the reason? Wasn't it because of him that Tianyin and the others were able to arrive in time? Could it be that they saw injustice and pulled out their swords to help? "Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Junior's words are indeed reasonable. You don't even need to say anything. This Junior will come over to help. Moreover, after learning about the evil spirit's orb, I knew I couldn't escape." Tianyin smiled faintly and said, "If I don't act, once the evil spirit's orb gathers, all the forces will be finished, including my faction. There's no way I can refuse." Tianyin was a sensible person, and they also knew what it meant. Once the evil spirits came again, everything would fall into darkness. Who could escape then? If they were not willing to come over to help, when the forces were finished, their own forces would definitely be affected. As for surrendering, that was not a problem. They would become their slaves for life. This was undoubtedly a choice that no one wanted to see. So our little friend is still sensible. However, many people are still interested in the power of the evil spirits. Even if it's not the evil spirit tribe, many people will want to have the evil spirit's orb for the power within it. Heavenly God Yudong shook his head, somewhat blinded by greed. They coveted a moment of invincibility and wanted to have the evil spirit's orb. They didn't care about the consequences of gathering the evil spirit's orb. They only thought about how many forces they could rule when they had the evil spirit's orb. What they didn't know was that although the evil spirit's orb was very powerful, it was not invincible. When surrounded by the powerful evil spirit tribe, it was still easy to be killed. Or like heavenly god Yudong, his body was slowly eroded, but in the end, it was all for naught. However, they just coveted a moment of invincibility. Nothing else mattered. There were quite a few of such people, and in fact, a lot of them. Therefore, it was a very correct choice not to publicize it. There was no need to make things difficult for themselves. Then let's not talk about the rest. We will still give you the resources that should be given. Your authority will be set at the level of an elder. Heavenly God Yudong still gave Yi Tunyun the authority of an elder. Although he wouldn't join, he would still help in the future. If he didn't give some benefits, he would really feel bad, especially since he had helped so much this time. Even if he didn't want to give any rewards, he had to. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Of course, Yi Tianyin wouldn't stand on ceremony. He was going to help in the future, and he was risking his life to help. If he didn't even give some benefits, it would really be disappointing. Thus, they began to discuss some things, such as the defense plan. No one knew when heavenly god torrential clouds would attack again, so they had to be prepared for anything. Just as they were discussing a bunch of things, Yi Tianyin interjected, "Seniors, have you never considered forming an alliance?" It was very difficult for just one power to do anything. They had to gather together in order to have a chance of resisting the evil spirits. We've considered it, but we're not confident that these so-called alliances won't stab us in the back. Wry smiles appeared on their faces. They couldn't even trust their own people, let alone allies. Of course, the alliances I'm talking about are those that possess the evil spirit's pearl. Is there no news at all? If they wanted to form a true alliance, they definitely wouldn't be able to trust any random power. However, if they were all guardians of the evil spirit's pearl, then things would be different. They all had heavy responsibilities on their shoulders, so it would be perfect if they were united. It's impossible to say that there is no news at all, but I'm not sure if I'm 100% sure. Heavenly God Yudong thought for a moment before saying, "I heard that among the fourth grade god realms, the Yuelong god realm, the most powerful one, might be the guardian of the evil spirit's pearl, and the Fecta god realm might also be the guardian of the evil spirit's pearl." The Yuelong god realm and the Fecta god realm? Yi Tianyin thought of the Fecta god realm. Heavenly god Torrential Cloud suspected that he was a disciple of the Fecta god realm, but this was too mysterious, so he decided not to talk about it. Then he thought for a moment before saying, "The Fecta god realm is too mysterious, and it's difficult to contact them. Are you not going to contact the Yuelong god realm?" They looked at Yi Tianyin with strange expressions. Heavenly Sovereign Sword C nudged Yi Tianyin with his elbow and said with a smile, "Little junior brother, you don't even know what the Yuelong god realm is like." "I really don't know about this." Yi Tianyin shook his head. The Yuelong god realm is full of female cultivators, and it is extremely repulsive to males, let alone an alliance. Any male that enters will be chased out, and in serious cases, they will be killed. How do you think we're going to contact them?" Heavenly Sovereign Sword C said with a smile. Chapter 1595. Who would have thought that this Yuelong god domain was made up of only female cultivators? This shocked Yi Tianyin greatly. He was shocked that there was such a special god domain in the god domain. If it was a small force, it wouldn't be strange if they were all female cultivators. But now, the entire god domain was made up of female cultivators. This was especially shocking. It was simply a special existence among the many god domains. There's such a special god domain, and its overall strength is ranked first? Yi Tianyin was shocked. That's right, this is indeed shocking. Yuelong god domain only recruits female cultivators. As long as they are female cultivators, they will be recruited, regardless of their cultivation, talent, or age. The great Devis shook his head and said, "The overall strength ranked first was actually female cultivators. All along, in most regions, men were superior to women. But now, they were being ruthlessly crushed. Some forces felt really upset. Perhaps this is because Yuelong god domain constantly recruits female cultivators. That's why it has such a standard? By constantly recruiting female cultivators, the chances of finding geniuses are higher. After all, most forces don't put female cultivators in an important position. On this point, it's the same as those disciples with average or average talent. When it accumulates to a certain extent, it will become very terrifying. Etienne's words exposed the truth, and it was a very cruel truth. Women held up half the sky. The number of female cultivators was also incomparably shocking. But most of them didn't get the status or respect they deserved. Unless they performed extremely well from the start, or if they came from an illustrious family, it would be easy for them to get respect. Thus, most of the female cultivators in this region chose to join Yuelong God Domain. This resulted in Yuelong God Domain having many talented female cultivators. This caused the other God Domains to be incomparably embarrassed. By the time they reacted, it was already too late. Yuelong God Domain had already surpassed most God Domains, becoming an outstanding existence among the fourth-grade God Domains. These words indeed made them feel incomparably embarrassed. Especially the second half of Etienne's words. It really pierced the hearts of the elders who supported Genius. However, they had no way of rebutting him now. Yuelong's God Domain was an example. He recruited all kinds of disciples. Some of them were female cultivators that weren't valued at all. But in the end, all of them turned over a new leaf and became the strongest of their generation. It turned out that female cultivators could also hold up half of the sky, and they were the very powerful ones. That's true. The great Devis, who was at the side, laughed. This disciple of his was truly ruthless. Even at a time like this, he did not forget to improve himself. That's more or less what it means. The other party is all female cultivators, and they are extremely repellent towards cultivation. Even if we go over to contact them, they might not even respond. After all, there are quite a few female cultivators who left through us. Their situation is rather awkward. This was the awkward part. Those who couldn't be put in an important position would be put in an important position in the past and soar to the sky. Any faction would have slapped their thighs in regret over such a matter. However, this was the status of female cultivators. The concept of men being superior to women was deeply ingrained and could not be changed in a short period of time. Even so, no matter what, they would still consider old friendships, right? Etienne asked doubtfully. Old friendships, huh? Domain Lord Xiaotian and the others laughed awkwardly. Although they did not explain, Etienne had a rough idea of what was going on. Without a doubt, there was no such thing as old friendships. They were directly treated coldly. Why would they care about them? Under such circumstances, wouldn't they be chased out of Yuelong's God Domain? Even so, they should know some information. For example, you are the protectors, and they will contact you, right? How to put it? As the protectors, they should be united. It would be great if that was the case. As the number one faction in the God Domain, they should not be in any danger. Why would they contact us? Domain Lord Xiaotian shook his head. We have thought about this long ago, but they don't. We tried to contact them once or twice, but who knew that we would be chased out and refused to see them? So resistant. Etienne was shocked. No matter what, there shouldn't be a problem with contacting them, right? They are so resistant. Unless someone introduces them, there is no way to contact them. Domain Lord Xiaotian and the others shook their heads and laughed bitterly. Someone introduces them? Then why don't you find someone to introduce you? Etienne looked at them and said, that is true, but if the introducer's status is too low, there is no meaning. If their status is too high, they won't care about us. Domain Lord Xiaotian shook his head. All right, there is a female cultivator with a good status. Even though she is no longer in Yuelong's God Domain, her reputation is good. But she has disappeared recently. I don't know where she went. The great Devis said. Which female cultivator? Etienne asked curiously. Supreme Feng Qiu. The great Devis said in a low voice. Supreme Feng Qiu has a very high status in Yuelong's God Domain. She is equivalent to an elder. But she suddenly left. But recently, it was revealed that she is a witch, that her parents are the main culprits of the God-Emperor battle. It is simply a joke. However, these words will deceive many cultivators, and they will believe it to be true. If we find Supreme Feng Qiu, we can introduce her. But whether or not they will allow us to form an alliance is another matter. Tianyun had a strange expression. He did not expect Supreme Feng Xiu to have such a shocking status. He thought that she was a lone traveler from the start. So she was not a lone traveler from the start. She had a very high status in Yuelong's god domain. Little junior brother, aren't you quite familiar with Supreme Feng Xiu? Why don't you ask her? Sword C, Heavenly Venerable said from the side. Everyone looked at him. They did not expect that Tianyun and Supreme Feng Xiu would be quite familiar. This is indeed very familiar. Tianyun laughed. Not only were they familiar, they were from their own forces. Now that they had joined the god domain of the three realms, if Supreme Feng Xiu brought them over, what would they do if the other side pulled them back? This time, their eyes lit up. If they could form an alliance, they would have a backer. If a war broke out, Yuelong's god domain would immediately send reinforcements. Ding. Received special quest, forming an alliance with Yuelong's god domain. After completion, received reward of main quest difficulty, reduced by half. At the same time, received 10,000 crazy points, 10,000 proficiency points, and increased friendship between Yuelong's god domain and Heaven Cultivation god domain. Chapter 1596. This special mission is about forming an alliance with my faction. As for Xiao god domain, that's just along the way. If one looked closely, they would realize that it was different. It was not to form an alliance for Xiao god domain, but to use the three realms god domain as a representative to form an alliance with Yuelong god domain. If they formed an alliance with Yuelong god domain, then Xiao god domain was basically just along the way. Then Tianyun looked at them and smiled. All right, I'll go talk to Feng Xiuzun. You guys can send a representative over. The representative is the great clan elder. Xiao domain lord did not even think, and clapped his hands to let the great Devis go over. The great Devis was not only the great clan elder, he was also his son. What was there not to trust? There would be no problem letting the great Devis go over to handle it. Moreover, with his own disciple, there was no need to talk about it. It would undoubtedly be more convenient to discuss matters. All right, I'll go find Feng Xiuzun now. Tianyun did not say it out loud. Feng Xiuzun was staying in his three realms god domain. He would be scared to death if he said it. Feng Xiuzun, who was so hard to deal with, was actually dealt with by him. Following that, Tianyun turned and left. He was originally a little hesitant, wondering if he should go find Feng Xiuzun. Now that he thought about it, it was for the sake of his three realms god domain. It was better to go contact Yuelong god domain. Thinking about it, the goal was the same a long time ago. It meant that both had similar thoughts. This way, communication would be easier. Very quickly, he returned to the three realms god domain and found Feng Xiuzun, who was running around in the three realms god domain. When he found her, she was still teaching them all sorts of martial arts or giving them pointers. It had to be said that Feng Xiuzun really enjoyed it and could not stay idle for even a moment. Feng Xiuzun, have you never thought of resting? You don't need to do this. Tianyun did not know whether to laugh or cry. I really can't stay idle. You've helped me so much. Staying here and doing nothing, it's really embarrassing. Feng Xiuzun smiled embarrassedly. All right, but you'll be able to help me with something soon. Tianyun smiled lightly. What kind of help? Feng Xiuzun's eyes lit up. It was obvious that he belonged to the type that would feel uncomfortable if he did not help. Were you in Yuelong's god domain a long time ago? Tianyun asked directly. Yes, I've stayed in Yuelong god domain before. What's the matter? Venerable Feng Xiu asked curiously. She didn't hide anything. Those who knew a little about her long ago knew that she had stayed in the Yuelong god domain. Yes, I want the three realms deity domain to form an alliance with the Yuelong deity domain. Tianyun did not talk about the Xiaotian deity domain, but about the three realms deity domain. Alliance with Yuelong god domain? Venerable Feng Xiu was stunned when she heard this. Yes, the three realms deity realm is allied with Yuelong deity realm. Hence, I need you to introduce me. Otherwise, if I go over, I will definitely be kicked out. Tianyun laughed. I'm afraid that won't be possible. It's a little too difficult. Even if I were to recommend him, it would be very difficult. She knew how strong the Three Realms deity realm was. To actually form an alliance with Yuelong God Domain, wasn't the difference too great? The so-called alliance, first of all, the difference between the two sides couldn't be too great, where they had the same status. Only then could it be called an alliance. If the difference was too great, then it wouldn't be an alliance, but a vassal. This was like an ordinary cultivator saying that he wanted to be friends with a powerful Empyrean. Unless he had saved the Empyrean, why would the Empyrean lower himself to befriend him? I know this. Leave the rest to me. I will make Yuelong God Domain acknowledge us. Etianyan smiled, full of confidence. Since that's the case, then no problem. The recommendation isn't difficult. I can't help much from it. The difficulty is too great. Even if I had some authority in Yuelong God Domain in the past, I can't completely interfere. Venerable Feng Qiu shook her head. She would recommend him, but this was a small favor. Whether or not it would succeed was not up to her. All right, wait for me here. When I'm ready, I'll come find you. After Tianyun gave his instructions, he directly went to the dark trial area. When he came to the dark trial area, the artifact spirit appeared again. It looked at him and asked, "Are you ready?" With my current cultivation, how high is the success rate? Tianyun asked. Your cultivation has already broken through, but the success rate is still 50-50. Everything depends on your luck. The artifact spirit still threw out this success rate, making him feel very speechless. Previously, it was 50-50. Now that his cultivation had risen by 2 levels, the success rate was still the same. He didn't know what to say. Could it be based on my previous strength? Tianyin thought about it. If the opponent was very strong, even if he broke through by 2 levels, the artifact spirit's data was not enough to increase the success rate. After thinking for a while, Tianyin still decided to go for the trial. His overall strength could even fight against a middle heavenly god. It couldn't be that there was such a strong existence inside, right? I'll continue to participate in the trial. Tianyin walked over and said, in his opinion, since the other party gave a 50-50 success rate, then the difficulty might be within the acceptable range. All right, then please enter. The artifact spirit waved his hand, and the passage in front opened slightly. Tianyin didn't hesitate to enter, but as soon as he entered, he immediately felt an evil force coming towards him. When he took a closer look, he discovered that there was a dried corpse floating in the air. On this dried corpse, there was a pearl embedded, evil spirit's orb. Tianyun's eyes narrowed, but he didn't show any surprise. Everything was within his expectations. When he knew that there was an evil spirit's orb, he guessed that there would be an evil spirit's orb here. After thinking about it carefully, he felt that there would definitely be an evil spirit's orb here. This was an area set up by the divine spirit race. One of the reasons they spent so much was to seal the evil spirit's orb. If he obtained the evil spirit's orb, then the alliance would be assured. As protectors, no one wished for anything to happen to the other. This was the reason why he let Feng Qiu's Zun rest assured. With the evil spirit's orb, he could be a companion. He just didn't know if the evil spirit's orb was sealed, or if it appeared in some other form. Now he knew. It appeared in the form of a corpse. The opponent in the last stage was most likely a possessor controlled by the power of evil spirits. Could it be that this is the original master of the Three Realms deity realm? Chapter 1597. Vaguely, Tianyin could see a head floating in the evil spirit's pearl. The appraisal I also displayed the information in front of him. Evil spirit's pearl. The head of the evil spirits is sealed in it. It has the most terrifying power of the evil spirits. Sealing it requires a lot of power. When used at the same time, it has the terrifying power of the evil spirits, which is enough to destroy everything. The corrosive effect is far greater than the other parts of the evil spirits. As expected, the head of the evil spirits is sealed here. Otherwise, there would not be such a heaven-defying god seal here in the god realm of the Three Realms. When all kinds of seals are stacked together, the power of the evil spirit's pearl can be sealed. However, If the person possessed by the evil god's pearl was really the leader of the divine spirit clan, wouldn't that be a little too miserable? With such a powerful god seal, it can't even seal a head. Does it need to be sealed with its own body? However, when he looked carefully, he found that the floating corpse is indeed from the divine spirit clan, but it doesn't seem to be the leader. Elder of the divine spirit clan. The power of the evil spirits is sealed in its body. It still has its own consciousness, but it is already in a blurry state. Its cultivation is at the early stage of the medium god realm. So it's an elder of the divine spirit clan. Tianyin breathed a sigh of relief. But if it's an elder of the divine spirit clan who sealed it, then what about the leader of the divine spirit clan? Maybe he will know the truth after passing this test. Then he lifted his foot and walked forward. As soon as he stepped into the formation, the floating corpse suddenly moved. It slowly raised its head and looked over. One of its eyes was white and the other was black. This phenomenon means that the power of the evil spirits has already corroded its head. Someone finally came. The dry voice sounded like scraping against the wall. It was very ear-piercing and uncomfortable. Someone finally came. Can I, the evil spirits, absorb some blood? Or do you want to seal me again? It's been too long since I've had fresh blood for me to absorb. I've been absorbing this body for so long, but there's no smell at all. The mummy suddenly laughed loudly. Its twisted face looked completely different from before. Whether it was his voice or his tone, they were on two different levels. One was dry and weak, like a lamp that had run out of oil. The other was full of energy and evil. The evil spirits have already corrupted me to this extent. Tianyin sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that possessing the evil spirit's orb came with such a powerful side effect. The evil spirits were too strong. They were cultivators that were infinitely close to becoming god emperors. Not only were they hard to kill, even if they were dismembered, they wouldn't die. Kill me, seal the orb of evil spirits. Soon, another voice sounded, telling Tianyin to kill him. Come and kill me if you can. You're just a middle-level heavenly master. I don't know how you came in, but you're pretty good to come in and give me your blood. After a while, when I have completely taken over this body, I will be able to rush out. The evil spirits laughed again, looking at Tianyin with disdain. This elder of the divine spirit tribe was at least an intermediate heavenly god. Now that he had the power of the evil god, it would not be easy to kill him. Rush out? I think with your ability, you can't do it. Tianyin sneered and said, if it was so easy to rush out, you would have already rushed out. He tightly held the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand, ready to fight. This was the last trial. Kill the elder of the divine spirit race, and become the guardian of the evil god's orb. He will also become like this, letting the evil spirit's orb enter his body, and then his blood essence will be extracted bit by bit. This process is very slow, unless he uses the evil spirit's orb, otherwise it will be very slow. But no matter how slow it is, his blood essence will be extracted bit by bit. No matter which guardian it is, the final outcome will be the same. Unless he moves out in advance, he can live for a while longer, but it will be very difficult to replenish his blood essence. He hasn't even fought yet. He already has to make a choice, either die or become a guardian. However, the evil spirits in front of him will not allow Tianyin to become a guardian. If he becomes a guardian, he will continue to be trapped for a very long time. How can he control the divine spirit clan elder's body like now? Especially now, he wants to kill Tianyin to absorb more blood essence to fill his own needs. The more blood he absorbs, the more power he can recover. But how to absorb? He only has one head, his power can't be that strong. Brat, you're quite arrogant. Even if I can't get out, at least I can still kill you. The evil spirit shouted, controlling the divine spirit clan elder's body to attack. His power quickly increased from the original intermediate heavenly god level to the intermediate heavenly god level. Obviously, the evil spirit's own power has been poured in. Only in this way can he better control this body. Tianyun's expression was indifferent as he looked at the evil god that was rushing towards him. No wonder it was said that he had a 50-50 chance of winning this round. If the divine spirit clan's elder's soul power had the upper hand, then he could easily win this round. On the other hand, if the evil spirits have the upper hand, then he will face the 50% chance of failure. Now, it is the other 50% chance. The evil spirits have already controlled the body and increased their power. Combined with Etienne's previous level, this is really the success rate. However, that was then, and this was now. Now that his cultivation had increased, he could even fight against a middle-level celestial god. 5 dragons roar, 5 dragons bracer. Dragon and Phoenix divine meridians open. He went all out. He was so much stronger than him, especially when facing an evil god. If he didn't use it, then he would be a fool. He is not a fool, and he will not underestimate his enemy. He has always adhered to one principle, and that is a lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit. Boom! The violent attack blasted, accompanied by a terrifying loud sound, and both of them were sent flying. The Divine Spirit Clan Elder's withered body was sent flying even further, and finally hit the protective shield, making a bang sound and bouncing back. Poochie, the Divine Spirit Clan Elder spat out a mouthful of blood, but it was just a little bit. His body was almost drained, and there was no blood left. Etienne's situation is not bad. His body was slightly shaken, and he suffered some internal injuries, but he will be fine after a little recovery. In the first exchange, Etienne has a slight advantage. Chapter 1598. The evil spirits couldn't gain any advantage, and neither could Etienne. The two were tied. However, the evil spirits were definitely at a disadvantage. The evil spirits couldn't absorb spiritual energy like Etienne could, so they were completely sealed. The only thing they could absorb was the body of the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder. However, as time passed, the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder would be sucked dry. Therefore, as the attacks continued, the consumption would only increase. Eventually, the evil spirits wouldn't be able to fight back. They could either kill the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder directly or stall for time. Both were very good ways to win, especially the latter. Even if they couldn't beat the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder, they could still stall for time, especially if the evil spirit's power was reduced. Once the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder's consciousness gained the upper hand, everything would be settled, as expected of the power of the evil spirits. It's really evil. Etienne saw that the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand had been contaminated with pitch-black energy, and it was spreading to the spear shaft. However, when he shook it, the evil energy quickly disappeared. If he was attacked many times in a row, the evil energy would really invade his body. No wonder you could come in. It seems like you have some ability to become a guardian. But how can you be so strong as a middle heavenly venerate? The evil spirit's pitch-black eyes stared at the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder's body and licked his lips. But this is more in line with my wishes. If it was too weak, there wouldn't be any challenge, and there wouldn't be any feeling when absorbing it. The next moment, the evil spirit straightened his body, and the evil spirit's pearl on his chest suddenly released pitch-black energy that covered his entire body. A moment later, the Divine Spirit Tribe Elder's shriveled body quickly filled up, and he became extremely strong in the blink of an eye. The originally shriveled old man had turned into a sturdy young man in the blink of an eye. His aura and mental state were much stronger than before. This was the power that the evil spirits had absorbed back into the Divine Spirit Clan Elder's body, allowing the Divine Spirit Clan Elder's body to return to its peak state. Only in this way would he be able to unleash even greater power. Soon, a perfect body appeared in front of him. The level of power suddenly rose to the level of an upper heavenly god. The pressure instantly enveloped him, making Etienne feel even more pressure. Sure enough, he still had to face such a terrifying level. It would be difficult for him to win against the evil spirits of an upper heavenly god. There was already a huge disparity between their cultivations, making it even more difficult for them to fight. However, this was within his expectations. He was facing an evil spirits, not an ordinary cultivator. Now let's have some fun. The evil spirits licked their lips and walked towards Etienne. Every step they took left a deep black mark on the ground. Tianyin could feel that this was only a small part of the evil spirit's power. Even after its power was sealed, it still had such terrifying power. What if it was a complete evil spirit's? Thinking about it, it was terrifying. Come on! Tianyin held the 5-dragon divine spear tightly. He was already prepared to fight to the death. He would slowly consume the power of the evil spirits, and he would be able to win. Just as he was about to fight, the evil spirits suddenly froze. They wanted to continue walking towards him, but they froze on the spot. You bastard! You are not dead yet. If you are not dead, how can I die? Give me back my body! The Divine Spirit Clan Elder suddenly shouted. He raised his palm and aimed it at his chest, trying to pierce through himself. The moment he was about to stab, his body moved slightly to the side. The palm that had turned into a sharp sword slashed at himself, cutting off his arm. Poochie, blood spurted out and dyed the ground black. It seemed like even the blood in his body had turned black. Bastard, you are wasting the energy I have stored. This is my body. I can do whatever I want. The two soul consciousnesses were fighting to see who would gain the upper hand. Swoosh! A cold light flashed from the side and instantly hit the Divine Spirit Clan Elder's body, piercing through him. The Divine Spirit Clan Elder turned his head and found that a long spear had pierced through him. Tianyin was standing next to him. The violent spear thrust into his own chest without the slightest bit of hesitation. Young friend, thank you. The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan smiled, as if he had been relieved of his burden. Damn it, kid, are you crazy? The evil spirits once again took over his body. He reached out and grabbed the 5-dragon divine spear, pulling it out. Then he quickly retreated. At the same time, the big hole in his chest was quickly healed. The evil spirit's pearl was constantly emitting energy to repair it. However, as the heretical god's pearl was repaired, the light emitted by the heretical god's pearl grew dimmer. This was the effect of excessive consumption. However, if he did not consume it, he would not even have a chance to fight back. Swoosh! Swoosh! The reply was not Tianyin's voice, but the 5-dragon divine spear. He wanted to kill the evil spirits. The Divine Spirit Clan Elder knew that the longer he delayed, the more dangerous it would be. Therefore, he wanted to kill the evil spirits as quickly as possible. The evil spirits quickly dodged. However, he was not in a good situation with a broken arm. Especially after being stabbed by the spear, it was extremely injured. His overall strength had decreased greatly. He had originally been promoted to the upper celestial god level, but now he had fallen to the intermediate celestial god level. He was not much different from before. In fact, he was even weaker. You were just an ant. How dare you resist? After dodging several times, the evil spirits flew into a rage. Even if I have to exhaust all my strength, I will destroy you. The evil spirits roared. The evil spirit's pearl in his chest completely erupted with all its energy. The terrifying power of the evil spirits surged out and enveloped his body. Soon, the injuries on his body healed. His body was restored to its peak state. His combat power had actually reached the upper celestial god level. It seemed that he had really released all his energy in order to kill Tianyin. Tianyin was undoubtedly challenging his dignity. Therefore, even if he had to risk everything, he had to kill him. Is that so? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Tianyin's eyes were burning. Even if he had to risk everything, he had to kill this evil spirits. This time, no matter what, he had to pass the trial. After all, he still had a lot of things to do, especially the alliance. The evil spirit's pearl must be obtained. He absolutely could not let it go. Boom! Tianyin erupted with all his strength, exerting it to the limit. He even activated the power of blood essence ignition. Do you want to start blood essence ignition? The system reminded. Chapter 1599. Ding! Starting to burn the power of blood essence. Overall strength increased by 30 times. Power of blood essence consumed by 1%. Tianyin usually did not burn the power of his blood essence. After all, it was not easy to recover. Unless he had no other choice, he would not burn the power of blood essence. In the past, the effects of the blood jade stones and the like were really negligible, basically negligible. He could still play like this in the past, but now he did not dare to do so casually. There were no similar recovery stones, and he did not get any lucky draws. He had accumulated a lot of lucky draws now, but he did not have any lucky draws. The things he got were basically useless. They were either bloodline duplicates or some ordinary experience cards. It was very difficult to get anything good. Unless he leveled up completely, it was still relatively difficult to get something new. Now he had no choice but to use it. Otherwise, he would not be able to deal with the evil spirits and would only be crushed. He did not hope to kill the evil spirits in a second. With his current strength, it would be very good if he could fight to a draw. As long as he could stall for time, he would be the winner. Boom! After using the power of blood essence, his combat power rose rapidly. Even if he faced an upper celestial god, he would be able to contend. It was impossible to defeat him, especially when the opponent was the evil spirits. Die, you ants and vermin that live here. A long black whip appeared in the hands of the evil spirits, and he lashed it heavily. This was a weapon formed by the power of the evil spirits. He did not have any weapons, so he could only use the power of the evil spirits to attack. If he had the heavenly god's spiritual treasure, then Etienne would have died many times. 5 Dragons Roar. Etienne's eyes were firm. He attacked fearlessly, and the two quickly bombarded each other. Boom! Etienne flew backward. A layer of shield quickly appeared on his body, and the power of the attack was mostly offset. Overall, it was not a big deal. However, on the side of the evil spirits, under the bombardment, the power of the evil spirits became dim. He was not injured, but he consumed a lot of energy. He could not kill Etienne. It can become even stronger. The evil spirits were shocked. Previously, he thought that he was the strongest, but he didn't expect that he would be so much stronger. Based on common sense, it was already impossible for Etienne to erupt with such power as a middle-level heavenly venerate. It was even more unbelievable that he could become even stronger. Again, Etienne didn't stop to rest. Wielding the 5-dragon divine spear, he continued to fight against the evil spirits. Overall, it was still acceptable. It was just that the evil aura would gradually invade his body, making him feel a little uncomfortable. In the past, the title could still resist the invasion of evil energy. However, in the face of the terrifying evil energy of the evil spirits, it could only helplessly surrender. I don't believe it. The evil spirits also charged over and clashed head-on with Etienne. Etienne was pushed back again and again. The power of the evil spirits seeped deeper and deeper into his body. Even his arms were dyed black. However, he continued to fight head-on, completely ignoring the injuries on his body. After all, every time he clashed head-on, the other party would also become weaker. The power of the evil spirits could be said to decrease with each use. It wouldn't continue to increase. Etienne was different. He could still recover through things like the voodoo, wood divine set, or by consuming elixirs. The evil spirits could only attack him once, and only exhaust him once. As time passed, he would only become weaker. As long as Etienne could persevere, everything would not be a problem. Reality proved that this was the case. Under the continuous attacks, the evil spirits became more and more nervous. Every attack would send Etienne flying. Sometimes, Etienne would even suffer serious injuries. However, every time, Etienne would stubbornly hold on and continue to recover from his injuries. Especially when he kept stuffing elixirs into his mouth, his recovery speed was extremely shocking. Etienne had crazy mode, which could enhance the effects of elixirs. Therefore, after stuffing elixirs into his mouth, he could greatly enhance his recovery ability and rapidly recover from his injuries. That's why Etienne was able to survive the continuous battles. As he attacked, the evil spirits became more and more anxious. If this continued, he would be finished. How did this kid cultivate? His recovery ability is so strong. The evil spirit's face became more and more ugly. If this continued, his energy would decrease, and he would not be able to control this body anymore. The Divine Spirit Clan Elder would definitely take over this body. After a few attacks, the evil spirits hurriedly stretched out his hand and said, "Kid, stop. I want to discuss something with you." Etianyan didn't pay any attention to him at all. He kept stabbing the 5-dragon divine spear in his hand without any signs of stopping. "Stop. Stop right now. I am the evil spirits, a dignified evil spirits. I could have been an emperor god, but now I am sealed here. As long as you let me go, I will make you the second emperor god, or the strongest existence under me. At that time, you will be able to possess all the treasures here, and you will be able to order anyone to do things for you." The evil spirits began to tempt him, using the same old trick. But this old trick had many people falling for it. Too many people could not resist the temptation. Moreover, the evil spirits had a great reputation. If he was really resurrected, it would not be a problem for him to become an emperor god. As the one who saved him, the benefits he would receive would be extremely shocking. The benefits of being the strongest under him would naturally be amazing. Even if he could not break through to become an emperor god, he would at least be infinitely close to it. But this kind of temptation had no effect on Etianyan. The 5-dragon divine spear in his hand continued to attack. He would not believe the nonsense of the evil spirits. The evil spirits would definitely make him sign a slave contract or something. Moreover, he had no interest in such things. What did he mean by ruling over everything? Even if he had such thoughts, he did not want to rely on the evil spirits for help. He wanted to do it himself. "Ah, you lunatic, unless you don't seal me, you will definitely be sucked dry by me." The evil spirits shouted. But no matter how he shouted, it was useless. The energy released by the evil spirit's pearl became weaker and weaker. If this continued, it would disappear. Finally, after a period of time, Etianyan suddenly pierced through and hit the evil spirits again. As time passed, the evil spirit's power continued to decline. Finally, it fell to the level of a middle heavenly god. The danger level had basically dropped to a very low level. Therefore, it was still hit by Etianyan's attack. Once again, the evil spirit's body was injured. Under this attack, the body immediately deflated like a deflated balloon, quickly returning to its previous shriveled state. Chapter 1600. Etianyan breathed a sigh of relief after the Divine Spirit Clan Elder regained his consciousness. It seems that the Divine Spirit Clan Elder won't change back. This could be seen from the heretic god's pearl. The evil energy it had released had basically all been retracted. The evil spirits had released most of their energy. Now that the Elder's energy was dominant, they wouldn't take over the body. "Elder, can you control it?" Etianyan asked. "Yes, I can control my body. If it weren't for you, I would have fallen. At most, I could hold on for a while longer. I'm afraid I would be completely taken over, and my soul would disappear." The Elder sighed, feeling lucky. Etianyan felt lucky to see a living person. This way, he could understand a lot of things. "Elder, are you the last guardian?" Etianyan asked as he looked around, but he didn't see anyone else. Normally, when a guardian couldn't hold on, they would immediately appoint a new guardian. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good thing to be controlled. "Yes, I am the last guardian. I wanted to go out and choose the next guardian, but the situation didn't allow it. When I wanted to go out, I was already a little bit controlled. I could only wait here for someone like you to appear." The Elder was happy. "I didn't expect that after so many years, it would finally happen. You know, the 3 realms exist in Fanyu. I didn't have much hope. Fortunately, God still cares for us. He didn't completely destroy all hope. You can see the situation now. I can't continue to be a guardian. I'm going to die soon. Now let me ask you, are you willing to be the next guardian?" The Elder's expression became serious. "This is a very serious question. I don't want to force you. It's all up to you. If you don't choose to become a guardian, then I will seal the evil spirit's orb, but it won't be for too long. It won't last as long as a guardian. But if you become a protector, it means that your essence blood will be constantly absorbed. From beginning to end, it will be constantly absorbed until the next protector is found. Of course, in the process, you can use the power of the evil spirits to become extremely powerful. However, the price is also painful. It will accelerate the absorption of essence blood. The elder of the Divine Spirit clan didn't intend to force Etionyan to accept it. Everything was up to him. Becoming a guardian wasn't a good job, but it wasn't too bad either. At the very least, it would make him invincible for a period of time. If I don't become a guardian, how long will this seal last? Asked Etionyan, and at most 1,000 years, the seal will be broken. At the same time, the evil spirit's orb will be able to absorb spiritual energy more easily. If it's a guardian, it will absorb its own power. It won't be able to absorb the power of heaven and earth like when it's sealed. In terms of time, a guardian can control at least 10,000 years, or even longer. As long as it isn't used all the time, it can be sealed for a long time. After a moment of silence, Etionyan's eyes lit up. Right, I wonder if I can seal the evil spirit's orb in this body. Then, Etionyan took out the evil spirit puppet. He didn't want to have the evil spirit's orb on him. If possible, he naturally wanted to seal it in the evil spirit puppet's body. Evil Spirit Clan? The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan looked at the Evil Spirit Clan. He didn't know why Etionyan had an Evil Spirit Clan with him. To be precise, this isn't an Evil Spirit Clan. It's a puppet I made myself. It looks no different from the Evil Spirit Clan. No matter how carefully I look, I can't see anything wrong with it. Etionyan smiled. So that's how it is. You are indeed a magical existence. It is our luck that a genius like you appeared in the three realms. Only when you appeared could the three realms undergo earth-shattering changes. The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan naturally knew everything that was happening outside. Naturally, he was paying attention to Etionyan's situation. It's just that this puppet's cultivation is too weak. If its cultivation was a bit stronger, it could be used as a guardian. This cultivation can't be lower than the middle level, heavenly venerable level. After all, if the evil spirits were a bit stronger, they would be easily affected. The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan said in a deep voice, although as a puppet, we have to be careful. Middle level, heavenly venerable level? Then please wait a moment. Etionyan's eyes lit up, and he immediately smashed all the evil spirit's soul and evil spirit's blood on the puppet's body. He had killed many evil spirit clan members before and obtained many heavenly venerable level and even heavenly god level puppet materials. After smashing them, his cultivation rose steadily, and he quickly broke through to heavenly venerable level. Then a heavenly tribulation appeared. Heavenly tribulation? The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan was shocked. He didn't expect a puppet to have heavenly tribulation, and it seems that its cultivation can continue to improve. Soon, Etionyan mobilized the puppet to break through the heavenly tribulation and successfully broke through to heavenly venerable level. Then, he rushed up again and easily reached middle level heavenly venerable level. He almost broke through to upper level heavenly venerable level. But he didn't stop. He threw the materials into the shop and sold them, then bought them again and again. He bought them in piles and then continued to smash them. Soon, he broke through to upper level heavenly venerable level, but it was only at early level. He didn't dare to continue, mainly because he spent too much crazy points. After a while, he will go to the Evil Spirit Clan and kill them. Then he can easily level up. A puppet is just a puppet. The experience it needs is much less than mine. Etionyan was very satisfied with this. Fortunately, he had a lot of materials, otherwise he wouldn't be able to break through to this level. After the upgrade, Etionyan looked at the elder of the Divine Spirit Clan and said with a smile, "Elder, I am ready. I don't know if you are satisfied? This is amazing. I have never seen such a terrible ability. Even the Patriarch can't do this, right?" The elder of the Divine Spirit Clan was stunned. His cultivation was very low, but in the blink of an eye, he became an upper-level heavenly venerable. It was as easy as drinking water. By the way, what about the Patriarch? Etionyan was puzzled. The Patriarch, he died in battle. In order to seal the evil spirits, he sacrificed himself. Fortunately, all the preparations were done before, leaving behind the three realms. The elder of the divine spirit clan sighed. The evil spirits are too scary. We must not let them see the light of day again. Otherwise, all divine realms will suffer, and it will be an absolute disaster. The evil spirits don't seem to exist in this world, but in another world. I don't know where they came from, but they brought a group of evil spirits. They devour everything. That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.